When we started the podcast, people were laughing at me like, he's a vlogger. Hey, welcome to my YouTube channel. They were
Oh,
laughing
yeah,
at me.
you
It's
do
not
that.
gonna go anywhere. It's MacG. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you follow too much on what people are doing,
Yeah.
you won't have enough time to be innovative. Like,
You
why?
are CEO of Chillers.
You understand?
You have a farm and a garage.
So hey, big cousins gonna love this interview. Trust fund babies.
King David Studio Podcast.
Enda, Hermes.
Inda, cash raw.
Shabuzit.
I'm good at you, Brad David.
It's grand. It's a special edition. I've interviewed a lot of older guys.
Yeah.
And you are literally the youngest guy I've had in the studio. Unless you're the same age with who's this? Joe Nina. Surely not.
No, how old is Joe Nina?
He's probably in his late 40s.
No. I'm not
Untuan.
in my foods. I'm still alive.
Untuan.
Was Jenny Chris Williams here?
Jenny sits at same chair.
Wow.
Same chair.
She's amazing.
Jeremy Mansfield.
Mansfield.
Same chair.
Wow, how's that like?
Educational.
Nah.
Educational. It reminded me of why I love radio. You know?
Yeah, he's an OG. I remember because my mom used to drive me to school,
Yeah.
and Fresh and Jeremy were on at the same time.
Oh yes, Fresh was at
YFM.
Y at the time. Yeah.
So it always used to change and alternate every morning who's listening to who.
Oh, so your mom was Mansfield.
Yeah, she was Mansfield, I was Fresh, and then eventually I converted her. So every morning we'd listen to Fresh, and then after she drops me, she goes to get
To Jeremy. Here's the sad part of your story. I was on breakfast as well at the same time.
Were you?
I was producing Breakfast with Ice at Metro.
Yeah.
Same exact time.
Shit, you know I didn't know you, eh?
I know you didn't know me.
That's crazy.
Interesting. You say it that way. I didn't know you also.
For real?
Until I saw your podcast and people making a big deal of it.
Yeah.
I was like, who the hell is this guy?
Do you remember the first time we met?
Yes.
Yeah.
Chili's funeral.
Yes.
You were so sad looking, man. I know it's a sad place.
Yeah.
But you were extremely sad.
Yeah. No, I remember I was with Dineo Lusenka.
Yeah.
So we were going to the funeral, and I think the podcast had started at the time. So I was just busy bouncing off ideas with her, telling her
Yeah.
the vision of the podcast, what I want to do, boom, boom, boom. And then when we get there, we happened to see. I don't know if you made a speech or something. Did you
I
make a
did.
speech?
I
You
did.
ne?
Yes. I
And
actually
then-
spoke to her as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Do you know who that is?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, who's that?" She's like, "Dude, how can you not know David Mashabela? She's like the richest motherfucker on earth." I'm like, "For real?" And that's when I went up to you, got your numbers, and then I think subsequent after that we made a few days.
Yes.
And then I told you my ideas, and then here
We
are.
met quite a lot of times after that, actually.
Yeah.
Because you came to SABC for a chat.
Exactly.
And there were these guys who go to that engineering school there.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
And they were so
yes.
excited.
When we were outside.
Exactly. That's when I realized that this MacG thing is actually quite serious. These random guys came and they were almost like trying to make you feel good because they said, "Don't worry, man, it's going to work out." It's like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
It was quite an interesting time that, let me give this guy a check because he's drawing my attention. What do you want?
I know you like to be hands-on.
I know, it's a bit of a problem. I do it a little too much sometimes.
Yeah, I had to learn also to let things go because I used to do everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But sometimes you just gotta let go
Yeah, it's
and
not,
trust the people.
I struggle. with that. You know what? I've gotten better in certain parts of my life,
Yeah.
but I'm still a bit of a mess in a lot of.
But it makes sense because we come from a radio background.
Yes.
And we control everything. You know, you got the whole desk there.
Exactly.
You know how you want the show to sound.
Yeah.
How it must, you know.
Do you know what? We're going to leave that part, this part. We're going to leave it going. I don't mind it at all.
You must put it up for Patreons.
Yes. Why not? You ready, Shakes? Shakes, we have to go. Dude, we are on the roll, man. We're on the roll. Okay, all right. We were talking about how much money I have.
Yeah. So
I have nothing.
you don't have anything.
No.
Yeah?
But they say you must behave like you do, and then it'll come.
Yeah.
You must say you have it if you believe in these affirmations. I am the richest you've ever met. I am the richest I've ever met.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's cool. That's my belief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But your journey is amazing, man.
Yeah. Whose interview is this? Who's interviewing me?
But thanks for having me, man. I hardly do interviews. You know, for someone who interviews a lot of people, I actually hardly do any interviews.
Do you remember doing one at all?
The last one I did was with John Savage, but
Okay.
it was via Zoom.
Oh yeah, so it was.
Yeah.
It's not always the same.
Yeah. No, it's not.
The Zoom thing, because with your podcast, you haven't done the Zoom double screen thing.
No, we did it the first lockdown,
Okay.
but I was only interviewing like B-list celebrities, you know. I had to keep the A-listers for after lockdown.
Who's B list? Are you willing to mention who's B list?
I can't remember who was it at the time. Sammy Sosa, people like that, man.
I feel so bad for Sammy. Now he knows in your world he's B list.
Come on, she knows, I think, herself. But it was awesome. People liked it, funny enough.
They enjoyed it. eh?
Yeah, because people hadn't heard from Sammy Sosa in a while.
in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we kept it going via Zoom, but it wasn't the same. You know, when you like this, it's more personal.
That's true.
you know.
This is a special edition, and I normally, and I say this, and now that we're talking about A's and B's in terms of listing, I normally interview people that I consider absolute legends.
Wow.
Intimidating, legendary, who've done hundreds of thousands, sold hundreds of thousands of albums and so forth, who have 20 albums in their arsenal, or who've been on radio for 30 years or so. And the idea of interviewing you, it made me realize that there are people who are young legends. People who you can tell where they're going is actually quite promising.
Wow.
And they are redefining the way we do things. And you certainly belong in that category of people.
Thank you, man. I mean, I haven't been on radio for 30 years. I haven't sold millions of albums, but I'll take it.
I think you're redefining a moment in the transition of South Africa from a tech and fourth industrial revolution moment. This is a moment that COVID has forced us to change. And you are literally one of the, we were in an interview, rather not an interview, a meeting yesterday with you. And when I looked at your numbers, like, this guy's numbers are actually quite more ridiculous than I thought.
Yeah.
Was this a surprise to you, this thing that you're doing?
100%. Like, it literally fell on my lap.
Yeah.
Like, I never planned for this. It wasn't something that I was like, I want to be the biggest podcaster in the country one day.
Yeah.
I was fired from 947. Wabon. And then at the time, I just had a baby. Born. I'm stressing. The missus is like, no. What's going to happen? I'm like, fuck. But the crazy thing is, I always had prepared. So after I got fired from Y, I realized, shit, this industry, like, you can buy a house with a pool today, but tomorrow you can't even afford the pool cleaner.
Yeah.
It changes so like that, you know. So even when I got the 947 gig, in the back of my mind, I was always like, okay, cool, I need something more sustainable because I do radio because of pure passion. And now that I'm getting older and I've got a family, I need to make this work, So I was like, but this industry, anything can change.
Yeah.
You're hot today, tomorrow you're not.
That's true.
So even though I was doing my radio show, I was always thinking of ideas of, okay, cool, what can I do? Let me start an app. Something more sustainable for long term.
Interesting. That was our first conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I could have, let's say, if I came up with Spotify, right? So I've got this business, it's Spotify, it's booming. Now I don't need to rely on radio to be my main income. I can now do it for fun.
That's
because
true.
I know that financially I'm covered. So I always knew that one day they will let me go. And then when they gave Ayanda MVP 6 hours, that's when I was like,
and then they got rid of you.
When they gave us 6 hours, it's time, chief. It's time to start, emailing
Imagine that.
people and stuff like that.
Jeez.
Because I was doing midnight, these arbor hours for like 3-4 years.
Okay.
Hoping, I'd get a break.
You get a better one,
Yeah, here's Ayanda, she comes, she gets daytime, I clean.
Jeez.
And then after that, they give her 6
6
hours.
hours, like-
and I'm there, I'm like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, you're out.
I didn't quit or anything.
No, yeah, you hung
I still,
around.
I hung around. You got to pay bills.
Yeah.
But I was shopping for the first time ever when I was at Prime Media at that time. Okay, I was like, all right, cool. It's time to start shopping.
Looking around,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Are
funny
they sti-
enough, all the people that I reached out to never got back to me. And now they do. But
Well-
we're having different discussions.
We'll talk about that because you told me that story that there's a lot of people who are suddenly coming back.
Yeah.
You know, even 947
yeah.
called and said, hey, man, this is not bad what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing. But I want to go back to you, one of those guys who've been fired a few times on the radio.
Yeah.
And take me to the first time you got fired and what you did.
First time, it was what's the word? Culmination, is that a word?
Yeah, it is a word.
Of a lot of events.
Okay.
So I was young, man. I started at YFM when I was like 18.
Yeah.
So behind the scenes, I do a lot of shit that would get me into trouble, and they'd always try to reprimand me.
Like a little kid.
Yeah, you know. I mean, I think they even forced me to join Y Academy.
Okay.
Because I didn't have any theoretical radio experience. It was just a natural thing that I loved, but I didn't have the theory of why we're on radio, what's happening, whatever, and structure, you know. So they forced me to get into Y Academy, which was a blessing because that's when I got introduced to Howard Stern.
Okay,
'Cause,
wow.
Yeah, in one of the lessons they played private parts.
Yes.
And I'm looking at this guy, I'm like, fucking hell.
I want to be this guy.
I want to be this guy, you know? Because before I met Howard Stern, the stuff I was doing on air didn't make sense. I was like a rebel without a cause.
Okay, yeah.
So now when I watched him, I was like, oh, okay. So I'm not crazy. You know what I mean? Okay, actually what I'm doing is more aligned to what this guy is doing. And that's when I started researching him, read all these books. And then I started researching other guys, you know, like Hamish and Andy,
Yes.
Chris Moyles.
Oh, one of my favorites.
You know what I mean?
I've played Chris Moyles shows over and over and over again when I was doing breakfast at Metro.
Yeah.
I would play, they used to record. Today they're called podcasts, but they would
Yes.
just record them and
Yeah.
load them somewhere.
Yeah.
And I would play them over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I still have words that I hear. The Chris Moyles shows, they used to record a lot of songs on Chris Moyles.
Yeah.
Like a song about Zuma in court.
Yeah.
They would have recorded a song today.
Yeah.
And just for the sake of it. And that's the type of radio that every time I hear it, I envy it as well. It's like, man, I wish I had the time, the effort, and the staff
Yeah.
to do radio like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you know what I mean? And then the day that I got fired, so it was eventually like, I know this guy's fucking up too much.
Yeah.
We gotta let him go.
Jeez.
But then that's the story that everybody hangs on to till this day. To say that I got fired because of homophobic whatever,
Yeah.
which isn't the case. There was a lot behind.
Jeez.
The
You were
scene.
just a naughty kid, and there was a straw that broke the camel's back.
Exactly.
And that was it.
Yeah, because if they wanted to keep me, they could have kept me.
Yeah.
You know,
because they had kept you for things before.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
wow,
Yes.
man. Jeez. And then 94.7, what happened there?
947, they just didn't renew my contract.
Yeah.
It was nothing that I did on air. I just walked in there and they were like, yo, listen, we're not renewing your contract. I was like, cool. But like I said, I already knew that it was a matter of time.
Yeah, you were not in the A-list.
Yeah.
You're not in the A-list. You are out sooner or later.
You know what I mean?
Or your shows are going to get smaller and smaller
Exactly.
and smaller. Yeah.
And I was doing a show every day.
Jeez.
Yeah, I was doing a show every day. Monday to Friday, I would do midnight. Was it midnight? 12 to 4.
There's one where you're interviewing Somizi. It
So
looked like
that
a
one-
Saturday, a weekend daytime.
So that one, I had recorded it for my show at night.
Oh.
So it was like a pre-recording that I was going to chop up and put it on my show at night. But then I was standing in for someone during the day. So I ended up playing it on daytime.
And it's still on their website.
Yeah.
Still gets hits.
Yeah, it's still, I think
Literally,
it's
when-
the most viewed.
Yes. When people look for your stuff,
Yeah.
they also find that.
Yeah, it's the
And
most
they
viewed.
go check it out.
It's the most viewed on the page, funny enough, actually.
It's probably the reason why they called, to check if you're well.
And how I'm doing. Yeah. So I do Monday to Friday, 46 or 12 to 4, I can't remember. And then Saturday I'll do the blog party from 6 p.m. until midnight. And then I'll come back Sunday from 10 until 12 or 9 until 12, I think. And then I'll come back in the Monday morning. And then, yeah.
Jeez, you did a lot of radio at some point.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like, to me, it didn't even feel like a job per se, because when I'm behind the mic, it's like feeding my soul. So I didn't even, people would be like, how can you do a 6-hour show? I'm like, dude, I'm doing what I love, you know? So
It doesn't
it
matter.
doesn't even matter to
Yeah.
me, you know? I'm working 7 days. I'm happy, man.
Would you do it for free?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I started, I was doing it for free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where and why?
No, at Y as well. The YFM journey is weird. Let me take you back to how that came about. So obviously I started on Kids TV,
Yeah.
right?
Who were you with on Kids TV at the time? Who's
Ah!
still around now?
Man, Salamina.
Oh, really? Musase?
Yeah,
Yes, okay.
Musa, Stefina, there was a girl called Ketiwe.
Okay, I remember that time well.
Yeah.
But I don't remember you. What were you doing? Were you wearing a mascot?
I was young, man. I was a youngster then.
Yeah.
So I started with them, and then I would go home, and while I'm doing my homework, I'd listen to IFM. Then I'd hear Rude Boy Paul. He was doing the jamming 6 at 6. I'm like, fuck, this is amazing. I want to do this.
The
You know what I mean?
the rudest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then I fell in love with Y. I started listening to Rude Boy Paul, Bad Boy T, Fresh, Chili M, Smooth at the time, and Adele.
That's why.
Yeah.
That is why.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, because Crazy was being shot by Red Pepper, and Adele was working on the Fat Joe show, but he was working at Red Pepper.
Okay. Yeah.
No. I came across Admiral and Jasid. I approached Admiral because Admiral was doing Fat Joe show.
Fat Joe show, yes.
I'm like,
the
Admiral.
movie review thing.
Yes. I'm like, yo, Admiral, I want to get into YFM. He's like, listen, man, we on once a week on Wednesdays. We hardly ever there. But there's a guy called Adil. I'll introduce you to him. And then he's the guy. So I got introduced to Adil. And then Adil would take me to his show. And then I'll just sit and watch him do
So
his
he was
thing.
nice enough to give you a break.
Yeah. And I used to drive him to the show because he didn't have a car at the time. And I had a car.
You were actually the ride.
Yes,
That's all
yes.
you were.
I was his Uber.
That was
So I'd drive him to the show and then I'd watch everything. That's when I got introduced to Smooth,
Yes.
Fresh, DJ Kent, DJ Waxy.
Jeez.
And that time I'm in high school, grade 10, grade 11. And I'm like, wow, this is what I want to do. So I had to stop doing that and focus on my studies because my studies were tanking a bit. I was focusing too much
Of course.
on the TV and the radio thing. So after that, then I was staying in Parktown with my mother, and Dineo Ranaka happened to stay at the same complex.
Yeah.
And now my mom had a meter taxi business at the
Okay,
time.
okay.
So I used to drive a lot of celebrities. Kanyimba used to drive her. Lorna.
Maseko,
Maseko
yes.
used to drive her. Shwashwi, the original Shwashwi.
Sonia. Oh, yes, Sonia Mbele
Yeah,
or somebody.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
it Sonia Mbele? Yes.
Taung, I think.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
I used to drive her, Kitty, Loriso, I forgot his name, man. So I used to drive them.
So you were exposed to all of this
Yeah.
very early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up driving Dineo Ranaka. So while I'm driving, I'm like, yo, dude, I've got a passion for radio. How can I get into Y?
By the way, those are irritating drivers. Just for the record.
I was one of those.
Those are irritating drivers. I was driving with DJ Smooth recently, and we were sitting at the back, both wearing masks. You can't see much.
Yeah.
The Uber driver noticed DJ Smooth's voice stood out.
Yeah.
And immediately changed his mirror to see properly. Then he started asking lots of questions.
Yeah.
And it never stopped. Wanted to take pictures.
Yeah.
So I know those drivers.
Yeah.
And the Uber guys, I'm not criticizing you, but I
Yeah.
know it's okay. You can do it. He did it, and look at him now.
Exactly. And then she's like, yo, listen, my show, she was doing the show with, they were about to launch the drive time show with Chili and Dineo.
Okay.
She's like, listen, my show's already packed. Unfortunately, I can't squeeze you in. But there's this guy called Mo Flavor. He's going to be doing 6 to 9 p.m. I'll introduce you to him. So she introduced me to Mo Flavor, told him the thing. He's like, listen, come up with an idea that you think you can do on the show. So I was like, all right, I'll do entertainment news. I was like, clean, let's do that. So that's how I got into Y.
Jeez, thanks to more flavor.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, man.
And then I did the segment for like 6 months. And I was there every single day at Rosebank, not getting paid, not a cent.
Jeez.
Didn't care.
Those fancy studios.
Yeah.
I remember them well.
I was there. My segment was 5 minutes, but I'd be there from like 12. And his show's at 6 p.m. Do my 5 minutes.
You were preparing.
Yeah, do my 5 minute thing. And then even after that, I'd stay and probably leave home at like 10. Because, at the time, YFM was hot.
And it was a family unit. The guys used to hang out quite a bit.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
And then 6 months down the line, Trevor Noah was doing Midnight. And he decided he didn't want to do the radio thing anymore. He's going to focus on comedy. Yeah. So there was a slot available there. They took
Is
Tolly
it Monday
B.
to Friday?
Yeah, Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Midnight. So they took Tolly B from weekend.
Yeah.
He was doing weekend in the morning or sometime. And then they took him and put him on Trevor's slot. So they needed someone now to fill that gap. So because I was always there, they're like, you know what?
Who was the boss at the time?
Bondo and Shaba.
Yes.
So Shaba's like, Morena, let's put this guy and see what he can do. And then they put me on weekends. First show, it was called The After Party. It was the first time I did a link. And when I did a link, I put all the mics on. Now there was feedback on the headphones. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? And yeah, the
and that was the beginning of it.
And that was the beginning, man.
Did you see a growth in the show? That very show you were doing? Or a growth in people being interested in it?
I can't really say per se because, it's not like YouTube where you can see the views.
Yes.
But
general interest from people, hey, man, we had you.
I think the general interest started from Mo's show.
Okay.
So I started off doing the 5-minute thing.
So that 5 minutes made a difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I became more of a regular on the show.
Yeah.
So even if after the 5 minutes, I'd still hang around and contribute.
Because you're the guy in the studio.
Yeah.
And that had become a habit for radio hosts to always switch on microphones.
Yeah,
and whoever that's in there just
Yeah.
throws in their 2 cents and it goes in.
Yeah.
And people start falling in love with that voice as well, all on its own.
Yeah.
Where were you born?
I was born in Padzima Njerere.
Yeah,
there's a hospital called Siloam. Yeah, that's where I was born. But I was in Venda until like maybe... Because I stayed with my aunt. My mom was in Joburg working. And then I stayed with my aunt. And then she called me up, I think maybe primary school.
Okay.
And then that's when I came this side to live with her.
Say, bring my son here.
Yeah.
I'm ready now. I've made enough money.
Yeah. But I
Jeez.
grew up in Padzima and then Makwarela, which is close to Tando.
That's why your vendor roots are so strong.
Yeah.
Because it's easy for us to move from Limpopo and come to Joburg, and we lose the authenticity of our language as well.
Yeah, no, but I think me and home has always been like inseparable.
Yeah.
I always need to go home.
Who was around your life experience at the time that may have influenced the person that you've become?
I think it'd probably be my uncle. We call him Uncle Fresh.
Still around?
Yeah, still around. He was like the guy, man. He had a taxi, and yeah, man. You see, like
you're thinking deep to that time. I can tell.
Yeah, I'm thinking like actually the character that I am, he's pretty much the same.
Wow.
He's a jolly guy. Always cracks jokes. Whenever you're with him, you just have to have a good time. And people loved him. And it was always like, it was always a good time with him, man. I remember he used to have a taxi, and because I was in Joburg, I was exposed to music more than he was, because it was CDs,
Yes.
You couldn't stream things.
You couldn't send it via email or WeTransfer.
Yes. So whenever Skido would drop, or Fresh would drop, or Kanyani, or whoever, Mbuso, Soul Candy would drop, I would always buy the CDs, and I'd be so excited because when I go back home, then I ride it with them in the taxi, and then I used to like DJ using the CDs for the people.
You were
in the
the
taxi.
DJ,
yeah. And I couldn't wait to impress him to say, "Hey, it's yeah, you know what I mean." I remember the song that he liked the most was Oskido Church Grooves 2, I think.
Yeah.
Kaiser. Yeah. So we'd ride in the taxi the whole time, and I think that's where I developed this personality of just being easygoing and want to make people laugh and just have a good time.
You speak of a polygamist granddad.
Yeah.
With 6 wives.
Yeah.
Tell me about that time. And obviously, you were in the same household, I imagine. Tell me
yeah.
about that time and how was it? I can't imagine 2 wives. So 2, 6 is a big number.
Yeah. My granddad passed away when I was still a kid. So I remember bits and pieces of him, but it was towards the later stages of his years. So he was at the point where he was, frail and wasn't the guy that
He once was.
He once was.
Yeah.
So the stories that I tell on the podcast, wherever I may be, it's stories that I hear from like my mom or my uncle when they tell me, hey, your grandfather was like this, your grandfather was like that, But he was a big deal, man. Like, till this day, he left us so much inheritance that till this day we still live from all the things that he did. I mean, the house that we have in Venda, in this day and age, is probably still one of the biggest in Venda.
Jeez.
But he had it in 1960.
Wait a minute.
You know what I mean? Like the farm that we have is bigger than the King's.
And yet it was your granddad.
Yeah.
Jeez.
We've got a petrol station there now that was his. So there's a lot of things that he did which are remarkable. And there's no one in the family who's ever gotten to that level in terms of success and money. Like, he was just the king, man. Like,
Are you heading there?
Nah, far from it. Far from it. Because he had shops, he had businesses.
It's old school rich.
Yeah.
Old school black rich. It's shops and things like that, and then a farm.
Yeah, because he used to work we even have a house here in Chawero, but it's owned by the other wife.
Yeah,
so
of course.
We don't got that.
So where in the hierarchy is your mother or your mother and those related to her?
My
grandmother
grandmother
was
was
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I think my grandmother was the second or third wife.
It's not bad.
Can't remember, but she was the favorite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she was
actually,
the
the favorite is always the most important.
Yeah.
Yes, we've learned that now with the Zulu nation.
Yeah.
That it's not the first that matters, it's the favorite.
Yeah.
Do you know what made her favorite?
I have no idea, man. I have no idea. Like I said, I wasn't around.
Yes.
I just hear stories.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Has that done anything for your mind in terms of how you see the world from in terms of people who are polygamists and things like that? Has it done anything to you as a guy?
Nah, not really, man. I mean, it's stuff that we hear about, but I have no interest in that.
Yeah.
It's, even now, there's no one who's in a polygamist.
In your setup?
Yeah, no
Really?
one. Yeah, it's just one of those things.
Maybe you need that to get.
My woman would kill me.
Wait, I'm getting there. Maybe that was his secret recipe. To the wealth. Maybe that's the secret.
You want to something?
Six wives. And then you tell them all, when I get to number 6, you'll see.
Yeah.
It'll all come down.
Yeah.
Raining money.
Yeah, no, but
Wow.
he's a legend, man.
Has there been battles in the family in terms of inheritance and things? Or it's just been smooth since his passing?
There's actually one now. There's land that we arguing over. There's land there by Thando that used to be my grand's. But the other family now wants it because we have so much. So they want a piece now.
Say, like what?
Yeah, but the elders deal with that. So I don't know what's the latest. But
You don't walk in there and say, you don't know my followers on social media.
No, man. When I'm at home, I'm Punzo, my family doesn't even know anything about.
They don't even care.
I don't even think they watch the podcast. They don't even know what's going on.
Interesting. There's somewhere where you speak about your mom and her calling you to say, hey, are you fine financially?
Yeah.
So clearly, she still remains an important pillar of support for you.
Yeah.
And how many times do you remember bothering her for cash over the years?
It was only during the tough times.
Yes. You've had lots of tough times.
Nah, not really. It was just recent. When I got let go at 947.
That
broke.
gap was...
Yeah, they was tough, man.
Yeah.
But before that, I've always been
self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient.
Yes.
I mean, when I started at Crazy, I remember the first paycheck I did was buy a radio.
Jeez.
And a computer, which I still have.
So you were self-sufficient from when you were really young?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I bought a radio, a computer. After that, I didn't care. She took over the money.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I think she bought herself a car because we didn't have a car at the time. Yeah. But I really didn't care about what
It's starting to
happened.
sound like a Britney Spears deal.
Free MacG.
Hashtag free MacG from his mom.
No, I didn't care about money, man. I still don't care about money. I just wanted a radio.
Yeah.
So I could listen to the
You
radio.
wanted the things you wanted.
Yeah, and that was
that's
it.
it. Yeah.
And then after that, I took a gap year, but I had money that I saved that I was going to use to go to tertiary. So my mom decided, you know what, just follow the radio thing and use this money for the next year. And then I started gigging.
And that was it.
Yeah, and then after that, it just became gig after gig. So the only time where I called and bugged her was when I got let go from 947 for bond and
Yes. That gap between 947, because that was your last radio gig.
oh
And the podcast.
yeah.
I remember having a conversation with you, and when you said we just started in our living room.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me about that tiny little gap between the time where you now didn't have a job,
Yeah.
and you wake up in the morning and there's nothing. Money aside, when you decided let's try to do something else.
Yeah.
What was going on then in your head?
So what was happening? Like I said, when I undergot 6 hours of
Yes. It does sound crazy.
yeah,
For someone to be looking for a better show and somebody else gets 6 hours.
you know. And I got nothing against Ayana.
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
girl, love her to bits, by the way. Where am I? I am. Oh, okay,
You
yeah.
just got let off.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I see the podcasting thing happening. I tell my girl, I'm like, I want to do this. This is while I'm still at the 947. But I'm like, ish. But then I know how these people are. They're probably gonna try to restrict me and tell me I can't. Because the angle I wanted to take was gonna be totally different to who I am on air. And they're very conscious about brand presence. You know what I mean? So when they let me go, it was the final push to go like, fuck it. Let's go. You got
Yeah.
nothing to lose. So I was always hesitant to like, should I do a podcast?
You don't want to lose the main gig.
the main gig
Yeah.
for this thing, you know?
Yeah.
So she was like, yo, bro, you got nothing to lose. And it made sense because in radio, our fiscal starts in April. So they let me go in June. So I'm like, for the next 8 months,
You have no radio gig.
what am I going to do?
No metro will call, nobody.
Nothing. And 8 months is a long time in this industry.
Yes.
Out of sight, out
Out
of
of
mind.
mind, yes. And
So
out
I'm
of
like,
pocket.
Hey, you know? So I'm like, you know what? Let me start this podcast.
Yeah.
Just to stay some sort of
Relevant,
relevance.
yeah.
But also to keep the fire burning within me of broadcasting so that I don't stress too much about not having money and
Yeah.
having to sell the house
Ish.
and having to provide for my kid.
Hey.
So every time, literally, when we recorded during that time, it was just escapism.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Just from what was happening to me at that time.
You were recording at home.
Yeah, we're
Your
recording
living
at
room.
home in our living room. It was me, my girl, and Len, my best friend.
Yeah.
And literally, the conversations that you see in the beginning of the podcast is literally what me, Len, and my woman would talk about, like just chilling on a Friday, crying
Yes.
and drinking. So we just decided to
And
put
no big ambitions in place.
Nah.
Nothing. Just I want to stay relevant, nothing else.
nothing else. But the tip came when we did the Zinta interview.
Okay.
She was the first celebrity who went on Instagram and did a link up thing
Wow.
to the episode.
Yeah.
So when she did that, whew,
And she had what, 2 million followers?
Exactly.
Yeah.
numbers went crazy. I remember getting calls like, yo, Zinta's on 1,000. I'm like, hey, 1,000. And then 10,000. Hey,
10,000.
and then 50. I'm like, yo,
What's going on?
what's going on, And then when I would go out, people would be like, yo, I like that interview you did with Zintle. I'm like,
Okay.
oh, wow, okay, people are watching this.
Yeah.
And then more and more celebrities came, Smooth came, Hurusan Ravera, CC came.
Yeah.
And then it just started becoming
One
a
at a
monster.
time.
Yeah.
And that Zintle made it easy for others to say, yeah, we can do this. Yeah.
And luckily enough, I have a friendship or some sort of relationship
True.
with the
Yeah.
people that I have.
They're not
on.
total strangers.
Yes. Then by December, I'm like, hi, man, there's something here. And then I just focused on building that and doing it one step at a time. And there was no ambition of making money or like
No, none of that.
commercializing. It was
Yeah.
just like, oh, okay, cool, people are watching this. Because you must remember, as dope as it is to work at Prime Media, relevance really, it's not that relevant.
No.
It's not,
Yeah.
like, I remember I'd go on air.
Yeah.
And I'm judging this based on why. Because on why, when you say call me, the lines are like this. But on Highveld, when you say call me, you have to repeat maybe 5-6 times.
Call me. Don't forget the number.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I had never received that much attention.
Oh, even beyond your radio career.
Yes.
Yeah.
The last time I received that attention was when I was at Y, because Y was a big thing at
That's
the time.
true.
You know?
And interesting you say that about radio. Surely you've learned a lot from radio that you're using now with your podcasts.
I think it's not even radio, I think my career.
Yeah.
Because if you check, when I started on Crazy, I was in front of the camera. So I got to be comfortable.
Oh yeah, of course.
In front of
Because
the
it's
camera.
not easy.
Right?
Yeah.
Then when I got to Y was like, bro, like the normal shit, you're gonna sink. If you do normal
Stuff.
basic
Yeah.
timestamp,
You'll be forgotten. You'll mean nothing.
you mean nothing.
Yeah.
Like, so Y taught me how to push my creative
Yeah. Yeah.
radio.
yeah.
Like creatively, you had to do dope shit
You have to work hard.
to stand out,
Jeez.
because you're standing in for Chili M,
Dude.
who's doing the biggest.
Dead.
Uted,
That's when he was dead.
Yeah, who's doing the biggest drive time show in the province.
Yeah.
So as soon as you turn on that mic, there's 300,000 people listening, and they're like, "All right, what you on about?"
When he says, call me.
You know what I mean? So you can't come there and say, "Hey,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Kaifa Siminya. And it's 5 to 9.
And that's how that clip came about.
Yes.
The one of you're not blinging and blinging.
Jeez.
The Gold Digger clip. I don't know
Oh,
if you know about
yes.
it.
I know it, yeah.
That shit went viral, man. That thing was crazy. So that came about because I was standing in for Chili M.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, now I got to do
What do
something
I do?
amazing.
Oh, you're one of those guys who,
Yeah.
when they're sitting in, they prep even harder than when they're doing their own show.
Yes, because I got to make sure I kill it. Or what?
Because one, it has huge audience, and two, Flip, you can't disappoint this show.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what I learned, because there was no restrictions. You literally
Yes.
you have got carte blanche, obviously within constraints.
Yeah.
But you can do whatever.
Yeah. Has why changed now?
I would say so. I mean, I don't listen to a lot of radio, but I think it has. But I mean, naturally, it has to change. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think I'm the target market. Young people change all the time. So I think maybe it does what it's supposed to do.
do now.
But for me,
Yeah.
I think, but it's the same. Like when we started with more flavor, Tony B, or whatever, the guys before were like, YFM has changed. It's no longer the
Trust
same.
me, I was one of those people.
You understand?
Who
So
are these guys?
It's a natural
Yes,
progression of
yes.
how the medium is.
Yeah.
And then when I got to Highveld, now there's like the Harvard of radio. You learn why a link is like this,
Yeah.
why you have to do this. You learn about business, the business of
radio.
like where we make money from, why it's important to, know what the client wants and how to entice clients. I had a stint where I'd shadow people in the sales team to see,
What do they say? How do they sell?
you understand?
Yes.
So it was more like the structure of how a radio show is supposed to be
true.
done.
Yeah. And that training is important, eh?
And now with the podcast, it's literally come 360 because I'm on camera, but I can still be creative. And then after, I have to take that product and sell it as a business. So it's like, it's remarkable actually. Because now
all of this
all
together.
of this is now coming, now I'm putting it into practice.
Interesting. I said it in one of your sales meetings, and it is a business now. And even you are aware how much of a business it is.
Yeah.
Which parts of it are obvious revenue streams? For someone listening now, wondering, but how the hell does YouTube make money? Which parts of it are obvious revenue streams for you?
Obviously, YouTube plays a big role.
Yeah.
But I think it's just mostly to keep the lights on and make sure everybody's fed.
Yeah.
So it's not ludicrous amounts of money.
It's not a million.
Yeah, no. Hey, trust me, Chief. If it was a million, hey, you'd know. I'd probably walk in with it in the studio, put it on the desk.
You would have a cap written MacG money.
yeah. But it's literally, we sell space, which is why when people say sponsors are pulling out, it's misinformation. We sell advertising.
That's it.
We don't have a sponsor. So you, as Mashabela, can come and buy advertising. And if you pull out, it doesn't mean
You lost.
a sponsor has pulled out. No, an advertiser.
Because campaigns run from this time to this time and they are done anyway.
Exactly.
Yes.
So when people were running with that story that Old Mutual pulled out as a sponsor, they were not. We did a campaign with them for 13 episodes.
Done.
Done clean. They bought advertising space. We pushed, and it was we were done. Like at the time when they released that statement, it was like, oh, and then which one is this one? No, because we're not even a sponsor.
We
Chief.
thought you were leaving anyway.
We did our due, our
Yes.
contract. You were satisfied, more than
Yeah.
satisfied. And that was it, But how media is, they'll spin things the way they want to spin it.
At that time, obviously there was a lot of, cancel culture. That's why we exist in those times. At that time, there was a big story against what you had said. What was your immediate reaction? Was that of, geez, let me be quiet and see what happens? What was your immediate, when you saw it, it's like, oh, I think I'm in trouble here.
Yo, when that thing happened, it was crazy, Mashabela. Fuck, I've never seen anything. I've been in the industry since I was 13. I've never seen anything like that. I was getting calls from everyone.
Jeez.
Everyone. And I was listening to the radio with my woman. I was like, hey, let's get out of this house. Hey. It's too much, eh? So we ended up just driving that day. We were just driving around
On that very day.
for no reason.
Yeah.
And then I listened to the radio and they're like, I don't know if you know the BBC Minute.
Did they capture it even
Yeah.
there?
And then they mentioned on the BBC Minute. And I was like, wow, this thing is crazy.
Jeez.
So I want to explain this in two folds. Short term, fucking amazing.
For numbers.
Best thing that's ever happened to the podcast.
Wow.
It's like the podcast didn't exist until that moment.
Short term.
Yeah. So I'm grateful. Actually, I wish I could be cancelled every week. It's good for business.
They don't know, those who cancel, that it actually works.
It actually works, But long term,
You can say something crazy here. Go ahead. What do you want to talk about?
I know. I think I've been cancelled enough this year. Let's try
it'll
next year.
help my podcast.
But the long term effect is that now you'll always be labeled as a homophobe.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's what was disheartening to me.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned this on the podcast. Like, I think if I was being cancelled for something that everybody knows, or that is me.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I said, like, if people were saying he's an alcoholic, let's cancel him.
Yeah.
Clean. not a problem.
Would you take that?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Are you an alcoholic?
No, I wouldn't say I'm an alcoholic, but I
you
love my
drink.
alcohol. Yeah.
But you drink.
So it's not far-fetched.
Okay. Yeah.
But for me to be cancelled for something that I'm totally not.
yeah.
Like, if you've had any conversation with me, if you've worked together, if you've met me, you'll know, everybody knows.
Yeah.
I mean, before that thing, I had Lasizwe on the show.
Yeah, and you were cool.
I had
There was
Silver
none of
Chauke,
that.
you and, those guys will even tell you that I have no homophobic bone in my body.
Do you, however, have a loose tongue?
Yeah. Yeah, it gets me into trouble.
That's my point, because that's probably what your issue is.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's an issue. I think that's where the beauty lies.
I like that.
You know
I
what I'm
like
saying?
the perspective.
Yeah.
It all depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when that happened, that's why I was like, but guys, why are you gonna cancel me for this when I'm not?
Yeah.
But it was I believe everything that happens, even when I get fired, I always believe like everything happens for a reason. I live by the fact that what's for you will not pass you by. If it's meant to be,
it'll force itself on you.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's meant to be, it will be. So whenever something bad happens, I don't dwell too much. I'm like, all right, cool, what's next?
What do you think was meant to be in that moment?
I think Buji's show was meant to be.
And it pushed you to consider it as a possibility.
Because without that moment, there wouldn't be Buji's show. Because what I learned from that is that when I sat down with Saul, I'm like, fuck, man, bro, how many people are like just me and you? Like, we don't know about this community. Because we said some very distasteful comments out of ignorance.
Ignorance more than anything, yeah.
More than anything. So how many people out there are just as ignorant as us and don't know about this community? How dope do you think it would be to make this and take it and make it as a teachable moment? you know, we've got this platform. Why don't we do this and teach other chillers and other people who might not know?
It teaches me a bit.
You know what I
I
mean?
must admit.
And I watched that show. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know this. I didn't know
Yes,
that.
there's
you know?
everything. Every week there's something new.
You know?
Yeah.
And you must bear in mind that before Buji's show, no one was doing that.
No, of course,
mainstream media, no one. Like when it comes to people, gay people on radio, it's always like, okay, cool, just to fill the quota of having
Khoi.
you'll be a co-host.
Khoi, a black guy in the movie.
Exactly.
And that's it.
But they're never the star.
No. And
You
they
know?
die very early.
Not my words, his.
Well, not gay people. I mean the black guy in the movie.
They die first.
Are we on slippery slope here?
Yeah, no. I don't know it. I don't know it.
It's always a thin line, eh?
You know, and
So that was the teachable moment that
Yeah.
you walked away with.
yeah, and Buji's show is amazing. It's so amazing. There's nothing being done like that. You know?
Actually, those conversations they have, I always find them so captivating.
Yeah.
Because it's always like, whoa, okay, really? That's what happens?
Yeah.
I now know about lesbian sex. I
Exactly.
had no idea.
How intriguing.
Except for porn. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they break each other's hearts that bad.
It's a whole different world, man, and it's amazing.
Jeez.
It's amazing.
Anyway, now there's a network now of stuff that you do under your account, or rather your channel. There's a lot more of these other things that you've created now. Tell me the bigger idea that came about when it comes to that idea of adding this and that, including Buji's show.
So for me, which is why I love Israel.
Israel's
Israel's interview.
of course, yeah.
Israel Makwe, ne?
Yeah.
Makwe.
You're swag.
Matseke Zulu, ne? Yeah, that's
You're
the one.
swag.
Yeah, you're weak, yeah. I love that episode, and I'm so glad it's the highest, most viewed episode on the channel.
Yeah.
Because it embodies what the network is about. It embodies what the show is about. It embodies everything that we try to do on the channel.
Yeah.
Yes, we have giggles here and there, and we entertain and make people laugh, whatever. But if you
Remove the layers.
remove the layers.
Yeah.
This platform is just to empower black people. You understand? It's to empower each other and build each other at the same time. So I describe it as like a car. So I'm in this car, and whoever, I don't know where the destination is.
Yeah.
You know, because at first it was to go to Joburg, and then we're like, hey, we can go to Cape Town.
There's still petrol. Let's go.
Yeah, there's no petrol, let's go.
Yeah.
So it's about whoever wants to come in the car
Yeah.
is more than welcome and be a part of this journey.
Let's change the imagination. It's a kumbi.
It's a kumbi.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I'm on this kumbi. Hey, ghost lady's like, yo, I'm a chiller. I'd love to be a ghost lady. Hey, come through. Let's go.
Yes.
Cool. Soul's like, yo, dude, what you doing is amazing. Can I be a part? Soul, let's go. Yeah. You know, then Buji's like, yo, I want to come through. Come through. You know what I mean? It's just about showing that, you know, if we work together, there's so much we can achieve.
That's true.
And yes, my platform is not as big as other networks out there.
Yeah.
But the little that we have, if we utilize it in the right way, will embark or plant a seed of change for the next generation.
That's true.
You understand what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about. It's all about working with people and giving people a voice, giving a voice to the voiceless. You know what I mean?
Why does it should be an obvious answer, but why does black empowerment matter to you so much?
Because I see how beautiful things would be, man. You know, I that's a good question, man. I've never actually thought about that.
It's that moment now for you to think about it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like the world would be a better place
Yeah.
if we all work together, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not like a...
No. And interesting you say it that way because how we met, there was no money in the conversation. There was more collaboration. There was, we can try that. No, let's try that. We can try that. I remember when you had lockdown, level 4, back there, level 4 last year, you came here with your woman and we were talking about a podcast platform. And the conversation was, she sat in the car in the rain for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And we sat upstairs in the office. And the conversation was, here it is, man. It's a podcast platform. It's already created. Let's see what else we can do with it, you know? And that's really where our conversations are. And I see a lot of this new age way of thinking tends to be collaborative in nature. You know, and I don't know what makes it that way. And I think the way people think now has changed slightly, and they see the benefits of, hey man, I can't carry that alone. Let me help you. And I don't want anything. And if it pays me in the long run, so be it. What do you see? What do you say about this new collaborative nature that you see a lot on YouTube as well?
I was actually, while you were talking, I was thinking about that question, man. I need to answer that. That's a good question. You know what I think where it stems from?
Yeah.
I think growing up throughout my career, I've always been told you can't do that. You understand? It's always, nah, you can't do that. So I think for me,
Who was saying it?
man, everybody, like,
Yeah.
like, I remember before I went on to YFM, who's this DJ? DJ Frankie.
Mm-hmm.
He was telling me, they'll never hire you. No, man, you're too young. No.
Yeah.
You don't have experience.
Untwana.
Untwana, nothing. And I didn't even pay attention to it. I just went there, did my shit, you know? And then, even at Highfield, every single time, management would tell me, nah, you can't do that. You can't do that. Nah. That's
When
not
you
gonna work.
wanted something else or an idea.
Yeah, I'll be
yes.
like, yo, imagine, let's try to do this. This would be dope. Let's do this. I was like, I know, man. We're nice. Just stay there.
You with your many ideas.
So I think in a way, I would have wanted a MacGyver during then.
Yeah.
Someone to say like, yo, let's do it.
Yes.
Like, let's go.
You know, something interesting about hindsight now that we're here and you have the new energy that you have, and that energy is drawn from those who said you can't do it. If they had said yes, you probably would have run out of steam. You would have done so much.
Yeah.
And I was like, get sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a problem I suffer.
Yeah.
I let myself do things too early. And I got to a point where I was starting to think, I've achieved everything I wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
What do I do now?
Yeah.
I must tell you, I've been going through that crisis the past 3 years, maybe.
Yeah.
What do I do now?
Yeah.
Do you know when you're young, where I grew up from a black township, you always wanted to have a bigger house.
100%. You've got that.
You always wanted to have a car.
You've got plenty.
No, don't say that. We're going to edit that out.
Mesh, take it out.
So all of that stuff. And now you tick, and the list is solid. You're thinking, hell, what do I do now?
Yeah.
I've been going through that crisis for a little bit.
Yeah.
Of new dreams, new goals, new ambitions. And it's the worst place to be.
Yeah.
And what keeps you going?
What keeps me going is very simple, eh?
Yeah.
I literally love being behind the mic. That's it. I mean, I told Saul when we started, I was like, yo, dude, we have one job. One job only. That's to upload.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Literally.
Record, hoy.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know? Because I remember this because, fuck, man. I remember I was at Prime Media and I was feeling bad because I was earning so much money. And I'd just come there and do the same link. Like, literally, you can take a link I did on Monday.
And edit it and put it in.
On Tuesday, Wednesday, it's the same link.
94.7. What was it, Joburg? What is it? Joburg's what?
Whatever.
Yes.
And I felt bad. I'm like, yo, this is daylight robbery,
I
man.
should pay them for this.
You know what I mean? I'm working 3 hours and there's people that work 9 to 5 and don't even get paid half of the money that I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
So I met this guy in the lift. Who used to read the
news?
the news.
Yeah.
I forgot his name. He passed away, man. Great guy. So I told him, I'm like, yo, dude, I'm feeling bad about this job, man. Like, I'm not doing anything.
Really? You even verbalized
Yeah.
it?
I'm like, I'm not giving anything to these listeners. Like, there's nothing
Yeah.
I'm offering. He's like, yo, bro, if you don't do it, someone else will. Okay. I
I'll
feel
do it.
better.
Yeah, I'll keep doing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I met, it's funny enough, this all happens in the lift. Then I met Umalume, who used to run for John Robbie. He used to
Okay, run the
Robbie's-
desk, yes.
Run the desk for
yes.
30
Oh,
years.
yeah, I remember. What John Robbie used to call his name all the time. I
Yes,
forget, yes.
I met him in the lift. And this guy used to run John Robbie's desk for
Yeah.
30 years.
Isaac, or someone. There's a
Yeah.
name that he used to say all the time.
So in my head, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. How do you do that? And he's like, simple answer. He's like, I come to work. I'm like, shit, yeah. You just have to come to work.
Yeah, just come here and do it.
You know what I mean? So that's what keeps me going. I just do my show and upload.
Yeah.
That's all I have to do.
And it's not that complicated.
It's
really.
not. It's not.
Yeah.
You know, whatever people, whether the show trends or people like it or don't like it, that's up to them, you know? But all I have to do, my job, I have one job only, is
Yeah.
just to upload.
Do you know something that comes across from what you just said is restlessness, which is a good quality, but above all is you wanting to get this thing better and better.
Yeah.
Because that's really what comes from it. When you feel doing a link that just back announces a song, tell people what time it is, what station they're listening to, and you hear the next one, you're saying that can't be enough. And for you to be driven by that, I find that a lot of radio people tend not to worry so much about that. What makes you worry so much about it? And it comes back to this question as well. Who are your radio legends in your list of people that makes you want to do so much on radio where others don't care?
I think it's wanting to be the best.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be the best in what I do. So if I'm going to do radio, I want to be the best.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do a podcast, it must be the best.
That's it.
If I'm going to be a producer, it must be the best. I mean, now I do it for fun. It's like a hobby.
Yes.
But if I wanted to be the best DJ, I would invest time and make sure that I'm the black coffee of the shit. You know what I mean?
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that. How
Yeah.
about you try that?
DJ.
And to the point where you're the black coffee of this thing.
I'm tired of it, Chief. My liver will be fucked, eh? I'll be drinking every weekend.
Oh, that's the problem.
Yeah,
all
no,
right, all
it's
right.
too much,
Let's
too
leave
much,
that. Let's
too
leave
much.
that. Sure, carry on.
But it's always inspirational. Like when you listen to a Fat Joe and you listen to a Link, and you're like, "Fuck, how did he do that?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like it's not validation, bro. But I just like knowing that that was dope.
Yeah.
I just like doing dope shit, and I think the feeling of once you've done dope shit and you see it come out or map out the way you envisioned in your head, and you see the reaction from people and it lands, for me that fulfills what I wanted to do. You know, it's like, that was clean. Cool, next one. What are we doing?
You mentioned Fat Joe. There are people who say you are a version of him.
Yeah.
And for a number of reasons, getting fired and so forth.
yeah.
Do you agree with that statement in some way when you look at yourself and the style of? Because I can give you my opinion about that as well, but I want to hear what you think.
Nah, I think it's far-fetched, man. The guy has done way more than I've done. I think his brain is mine will never get to that level, you know. I aspire to be, but I think, you know, you can't even put the same in the same sentence, you know. But I understand why people would have that comparison. But yeah, no, he's on another level, bro.
I agree.
He's on another level.
I used to work at an ad agency in Sandton. I was staying in Mamelodi, and I would travel in the morning to work, and I would listen to Joe in the morning. My gosh, you know what, the type of radio he was doing, where he was always on the edge. Dude, I could never do that.
Yeah.
I'm the safe guy. You know, I'm the safe area. And the reason why people will compare you is because you play in that little island of those who are willing to jump over the hill without checking whether they are strapped on tightly or not. And you fall certainly in that. Are you aware of that the risque type of content that you bring out sometimes? Or not even the content, the way you deliver it?
I am aware, and I think I try not to think too much about it.
Okay.
That's why, like, I don't know how to explain it, man. It's just about doing dope shit, man. If I think it's dope, I'm gonna do it,
That's
regardless of the circumstances or the consequences.
Yeah.
I'd rather apologize later.
Let's jump, man.
Yeah, let's jump, Chief. Let's go.
Interesting. I was telling my niece this, that It's your way of looking at the world. Let's do it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You've said that to me so many times.
Yeah.
Because you know my issues is we have to get it right first before we show it to the world. And it took us a few minutes. You see that blue light there?
Yeah.
It took us a few minutes to make sure that it's exactly where it is.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
And you say, man,
Let's go.
let's go, man. and I must tell you, you in a small way, you influence the way I see things as well.
Yeah.
To say, dude, come on, jump, man.
Yeah.
People don't care about that light.
Yeah.
They don't even know it's supposed to be there. And I like that influence that you're already having. You've said it so many times to me, you don't even realize.
Yeah.
Do you find that you've done that for a lot of the guys in your crew? Because it's quite a big crew now that you work with.
Yeah.
Do you find that you leave consciously, or maybe not even that conscious, that type of inspiration to your crew?
Oh, I wouldn't know. I think you'd have to ask them. But what I try to do with the people that I work with, it's all derived on energies.
Yeah.
I think everyone on the team right now has the same vision, man.
Yeah.
You know, like Ghost Lady, for example, when she started, yeah, man, Ghost Lady is amazing. You know, from when she started just as a chiller. She used to watch the show and she's like, I like this content.
Wow.
And then we were looking for.
You
Ghost
didn't have a
Lady.
ghost at the time.
Yeah, we didn't have a ghost at the time.
Yeah.
The one we had left. And then she applied, she came through. So what I'm trying to show is that the people that I work with, we have the same vision, same way of thinking, and I can trust the people to do whatever it is they are doing. So with sound, it's Aya. Like Aya loves sound the way
dude.
I love radio. You understand?
I love sound to a point where it's irritating.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Soul loves dropping puns and the comedic factor and broadcasting as much as I do. You understand? Mash loves recording as much as I do. So that's the people that I try to align myself. Even though we don't have as much money. It's not a driving force. It's just about how was that episode?
Yes.
I mean, funny enough, the episode that landed now. What episode? 264?
Is it the one you recorded this past weekend?
This past week.
The one we hung out for an hour after that.
Yes.
And I asked, how was that?
It was episode 264. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
The one where we were talking about Zuma and the Swaziland.
Yeah, that's the one.
That episode.
That's the one. Yeah.
When we finished, for the first time ever since we started the podcast, we working with Saul and whatever. First time ever. I was like, nah, gents.
That was exactly your comment. I asked, so how was the show?
I'm not feeling that show, man. That show was weak.
Swag.
And literally we chilled for another hour, 2 hours, and made sure we left that studio knowing, okay, cool, we're happy.
Yes.
But everybody was like, okay, the moment I said it's not cool, everybody was like, what can we do?
You kept on going, essentially.
Yeah.
Even when you felt the show, because I asked you, how was the show? You said, it was pop, but we saved it.
Yes.
That was your comment.
Because after I said, guys, I'm not feeling that show, so I was like, all right, cool, what can we do? All right, he was like, all right, let's call Reason.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yes,
Ghost Lady's like, oh,
yes.
cool, how about we do this? So that's what I mean about the energies. We all strive to do, because you're only as good as your last show.
That's true.
So we all strive to do the best we can in whatever field and whatever.
Don't worry, Israel's show will always save you. when people judge you, you'll say, I've done the Israel show. It's a great show.
So, and there wasn't like, man, we've been here since 9, 10. Can we leave?
Yeah.
Ish, no, man. You're chowing our time. And I was like, all right, cool.
Let's keep going.
I mean, Saul even said, if it doesn't work, we'll come back Sunday and record another episode.
Yes.
From scratch.
I remember that.
You know? So those are the vibes. And
Yeah.
that's what we're dealing with right now. But the craziest thing with this podcast is that throughout my career, whenever it seems like
It's going up.
it's going up,
Oh, no.
always comes crashing.
No. Don't jinx it.
No, I'm not jinxing it, but that's what I'm battling with
Yeah.
right now. Is that if you check, when I started at Y, I was being groomed to be the next big
Yeah.
star, alongside Mo Flavor, Tolly B, all those guys. And then, goes to shits. You understand?
So what are you see? What are you saying in relation to where you are now?
That's where I'm going. And then 947, when I started fucking I was the golden child.
and until they gave someone 6 hours.
Because I was the first black person they hired.
Wait a minute. In that era.
Yeah,
Yes.
I guess they made they decided they're gonna go black.
Yeah.
And then I was the first black
Yeah.
person they hired.
You're not black enough. When are you grew up with chup chup in your mouth?
Eh?
You grew up nice.
Nah, not even. I'm a chameleon.
Oh yeah.
I can fit wherever.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Show my chimbos, skipper. Yeah,
And then we go to the burbs.
go to the burbs. Yo, what's happening, bro?
I can't do that. I can't do what's happening, bro.
I'm a chameleon. I can
Yeah.
fit anywhere. So, yeah. So then I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the vision. I'm seeing the vision. Tanks again. So now the podcast is growing. It's growing. Literally, by nature, I'm waiting for them.
Oh no.
I'm waiting for the
You
moment.
can't do
I
that.
kid you not.
Let me change your way of thinking for 1 second. Allow me. Say I get you're saying it's going up. Let's assume you're up. Your highest point that will turn it around is 20 years from now.
Sure.
Let's put it there. So that means the climb will be so much. Let's say the climb is 30 million subscribers. Let's say that's when it turns. That's okay. You would have done a lot by then. And then you can start planning a new thing. Essentially, let's put this crash way far. Because now, whether you like it or not, that is a jinx. Whether you agree or not, that is a jinx that you're doing for yourself to say, because you're essentially declaring that it has reached its peak. And it hasn't. Now, has it?
No. We haven't even started.
Thank you.
Shit.
If you haven't started, I mean, if this trip to Durban, you are still packing. You're still packing.
Yeah.
And the climax is when you've had a night or two in Durban. So you're too far. Because I look at you and I say this really from a good heart. I say, I've had a few people inspire my way of thinking, particularly in the last, in my entire career. But your energy has brought a different energy to my office. And I remember I had a chat with it doesn't matter. I don't have to mention their name. Who is a rapper, a famous rapper, came to my studio, wanted to do stuff here at the studio.
Stoji T, yes.
No. That's recent.
Oh,
I'm talking
another one.
years ago.
Oh,
I'm talking
okay.
4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Came to my studio, hung out, and this is what I want to do. I want to record songs here. And I said, great, let's do it. And never called again. A similar call as yours. And you with your let's do it attitude. Doesn't matter if it's not ready. Let's eat even though the food is not quite cooked.
Yeah.
That attitude for me has changed the energy of my own office. It has changed the energy of how we see things. And that's why I say you don't realize the influence that you're probably having
Wow.
on not only myself or my team, and also on people who watch your show. So your peak is far, my man.
Wow.
And it may not be what you think it is.
100%, yeah.
It may not be 30 million subscribers on your YouTube channel. It may not be your own YouTube network, so to speak. It's probably something else altogether. So we together and everybody watching, we are moving your peak to 20 years from now.
Yeah. Appreciate it, man.
That's it.
But I'm trying to enjoy every day as it comes, man. I try not to think too much about that, but it's always in the back of my mind. Like, it's like PTSD or whatever.
Yeah. When it's like, shit.
It's like, oh, shit, when am I getting fired again? And then I wake up, I'm like, oh, shit, but I can't find myself.
That's it. Interesting you say that. I like it when every time I call you, I remember I called you one Monday morning or Tuesday morning. It was after a long weekend. And I said, how was your long weekend? Your answer was, my weekend is always a long weekend. So working for yourself must be something else, eh?
Oh, it's amazing. It's the I wish everybody could experience what I'm experiencing, especially in the entertainment industry. Like it is so fulfilling, man. It is like, it's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Yes. Just determining your time.
Yeah. Because I realized, like, while I was doing all those 7 shows, Because my whole thing was like, I need to impress these people to make sure that they know that I really love this and I'm for it, you know?
Yeah.
I'll do 24 hours if you need me
Jesus.
to. You know what I
The
mean?
girl, I need to buy a car.
But I missed out on so many family things.
Hey.
You understand?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even go to my grandfather's funeral because I had a radio show. And I'm those type of niggas where I radio show first, everything else after.
I'm not sure. I'm exactly that, and I worry.
Yeah.
I'm 46 in a few days, a few weeks, few months. I'm not married.
Yeah.
I don't even prospects.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've done my entire life.
Yes.
Jeez.
So since now I've been able to dictate time when I can. Now like when we have family gatherings, I'm like, oh shit, I've been missing out on this.
Jeez.
You know, or like I meet my friends and you know they're doing something or whatever. I'm like, oh man,
It's so cool.
this is so cool. I've been missing out on this. So now I appreciate
Yeah.
family and spending time with them and friends more and even gigs. Like I could never enjoy a gig because I knew at 6 p.m. I gotta leave and do the show.
Oh no.
Or it's either I arrive at the gig at 1 when everyone's lodged because I just come from a show. You understand? Small things like that I could never enjoy.
Yeah.
You know?
And now you can.
And now I can. And that's because, you know, I work for myself. I'm my own boss. And financially, it is, you know, I say this thing is like, podcasting is like a music label, right?
Yeah.
If you work for Sony as an artist, it's like working for a radio station. You know, you have to do things and move in a certain way. But when you have a podcast, it's like you're independent.
Yeah.
You know, you can do what you want, how you want it.
But it needs funding and a sense of responsibility.
Exactly. It's high risk, high reward.
Yeah. Yeah.
High risk, high reward. So you might go independent and your podcast doesn't land,
True.
which would lead to a lot of frustration and depression. But if it lands,
It
then
works.
it's gold.
Yeah. And you don't have to share the stuff with anyone.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because in radio, how we get paid is Mashabela will come and say, listen, I want to spend 2 million on Radio 2000. All right?
I wish. You. Thank you for the blessing.
Yeah. You get your 50,000, 10,000, 30,000, however much it is, for the month. And you are happy. You can pay your bond. You can pay your car.
True.
You are safe.
Yeah.
You know? But with this, there's no middleman.
Nah.
You're speaking directly to Mashabela.
There's no one else in between.
There's no one so that 2 million comes straight to you.
And you determine whether it's 2 million or 2.1.
You know, you can even counter.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So financially, it's very liberating, but also it comes with a lot of responsibility because now we've employed over 30 people,
Jeez.
40 people, young people that now are looking on to me.
As the guy.
You know, so I can't be reckless like I was at
You
Y.
are CEO of Chillers.
You understand? Because at Y I could be reckless, get fired. I only have to deal with myself. I'll go back to my mom's house.
Yes.
Go back to Van Dyke shop.
You have a farm and a garage.
So, hey, big cousins gonna love this interview. Trust fund babies. But now there's 30 people who are looking onto me, who are feeding their families.
Which areas of these employees, quickly, whatever comes to mind almost immediately, which areas of people and skills have you hired since this thing has made sense to hire people?
Everything.
Yeah.
So I used to do everything from when I started. I used to edit, do the sound, do the editing, shoot, do the proposals.
You would worry about the blue light.
Yes, do the lighting, everything.
Yeah.
But as we have grown, I can now employ people to do that. And the reason why I do that is so that I can focus on what I know best, which is content. So I can't give the best of myself to the chillers if I'm worried about whether Mashabela is going to spend money on the show, whether the sound.
That live read.
Yes,
the
you know what I'm
sound,
saying?
the camera.
The camera, I can't.
Yeah.
You know, then I'm shortchanging the chillers. So fortunately enough, I've been able to employ all these people who can do all those things for me, and then I just focus on what I do best. So now we have a sales team that their job is just to sell the podcast. You know, we've got a sound guy, Aya. His job is to make sure the sound is proper. You know, we've got Mash. He's got a team that shoot.
Tell me quickly, does Mesh do his nails?
Yeah, he does. He does.
Oh, wow, they always look nice.
Yeah, Mesh he's like a David Beckham. What do they call them?
Yeah,
Those
he's
guys.
a metrosexual
Yeah,
or something
metrosexual,
like
yeah.
that. That's probably an old phrase, but yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he's one of those.
Jeez, man, his nails are nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys probably spoken about it as a
Plenty of times.
even on your podcast.
He's the type of guy when we are shooting and we stop by Brie, Rejana
Yeah.
Abatli.
It's not clean enough.
Yeah, it's not clean enough now. And we're rocking shit.
So those are the kind of guys you've hired.
Yeah.
Because I noticed when you started coming to our studio, you'd be driving yourself with the crew. Actually, you'd be driving the crew in.
Yeah.
But now you just rock up alone.
Yeah.
And there's somebody else who handles that.
Yeah. So now we got a driver. There's a guy who picks them up, drops them off.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah,
You've created jobs.
Yeah.
You're going to heaven. Don't worry. I always believe people who create jobs will go to heaven.
Yeah.
And they can get there and say, but God,
Yeah.
you can see what I've done there.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
No, but yeah, man.
It's
just
working out.
Yeah.
What is the big goal with this so far? The answer you always give me is, I'm just writing it and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. And that's honestly the truth. Like, if you had asked me last year, would I have a network? I would have told you no.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, man, I try to take one day at a time, one episode at a time. So right now, you're right. The podcast could be different next year or the year after. I have no idea. I just know if something is dope and I want to do it, I do it.
Yeah.
So for example, having a studio, I never thought about having a studio. But then I sat down, I was like, shit, it would be dope to have a studio. Let's have a studio. Lo and behold, we had conversations and, the studio's there now.
Yeah.
So...
And it works. I was nervous if people would like it.
Yeah, and it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, bro. Like, maybe next year I'll say, okay, cool, let's have offices all of Africa.
Hey, imagine that.
You know what I mean? We can do it.
Yeah.
It's all about, like, all right, cool, what can we do now? Oh, how about we do this? All right, clean, let's do it.
There's something about your personality, and I guess you've said it so many times in this conversation, that always goes back to your innovative side, where you want to try it, you want to be the first to do it. Where does that come from? And are you even aware of it? Because I remember we were having a chat with my niece about it. I said, do you know, MacG was smoking the other day, and he just said, how about we do that? Because that's what you do. That's who you are all the time.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Are you even conscious of your innovative side of your mind?
No, not at all, man. Because, like, I don't really celebrate milestones or things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it comes from my radio background. Because, when you do radio show, you'll prep, like, the whole day, making sure you kill this show. But once it's done, it's on to the next one.
Yeah.
There's no time to be like, oh, shit, I got so many views.
Yeah, it's like soccer now. Yeah, the games are too close to each other.
It's
You don't
next.
have time to celebrate.
There's no time to celebrate,
Yeah.
So I've never actually sat down and be like, oh, am I innovative, whatever. But in hindsight, when I look back, I now realize that I'm sort of like, I don't want to sound like I'm giving myself a big head or anything.
I want you to have a big Let's go.
But I realize I'm sort of, in some weird way, I'm sort of like a visionary. Because if you look at my career, I remember, like, just even before entertainment industry, just at school, in high school, we all had to choose what subjects you want to do from grade 9.
Yeah.
And I was the only black kid in the computer science class.
Jeez.
Only black kid. With
That saw this as a potential career.
Yeah, because I saw, man, I'm like, no, man, computers are going to run the world. I don't know how,
Yeah.
But in the future, computers, you got to know computers.
Yeah.
And we started programming, we started Java and whatever. And lo and behold, right now, like,
Jeez.
dude, that's all you need,
So that personality streak has always been somewhere in your DNA to say, I see something else in the future, because that's a making of great leaders. When we look back at the likes of Steve Jobs and many others,
Yeah.
Bill Gates,
Yeah.
they saw something that we didn't.
Yeah.
And when they told others, they said, nah, it's not gonna work.
100%. I mean, when we started the podcast, people were laughing at me like, he's a vlogger. Hey, welcome to my YouTube channel. They were laughing
Oh,
at me.
you
It's
do
not
that.
going to go anywhere. It's MacG. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, so high school that happens, and then I start working at Y, and then well, I can't say this is just me myself, but the people I was with around, like your Popstar, JJ, we're like, fuck, man, let's create our own condom brand. By that time, no one owned brands. You understand? Not even the OGs.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Your Bob Mabanas.
Yeah.
They didn't own brands.
Smooth. There was no more fire.
No, yes.
There was none of that. And we started our own condom brand.
Yeah.
Which flopped, but
Hey,
you know,
man.
now everyone has a brand.
Yeah.
Everyone is selling something. You know what I mean? And even in the event spacing, no one was doing events before Rock the Girls events.
Yeah.
And I remember after we did Rock the Girl events, then everybody started doing events. You know, that's when Pop Bottle started. That's when the FU parties started. And I'm not saying we invented inventing.
You got everybody thinking this is
But
not a bad idea.
In the new
Yeah.
new school guys.
Uh-huh.
You know, Shimza started his one-man show.
Jeez.
And those are the guys that every Rock the Girls we did, we'd book them.
Yes.
So
of
I'd always
course.
book Zandy, I'd always book Dimples, I'd always book Shimza.
No wonder you stay in good contact with them.
You understand? And then, you know, Major League Gardens came from there, Homecoming.
Wait a minute.
All those events started coming up from that. And then also I remember I was the first to own a club. Because after I got fired from
Y,
I'd saved about 200K.
Okay.
Because I was living with my mom, didn't
Yeah,
spend on much.
yeah.
I'm 18, bought the car, my dream. So money I would just save, you know, from gigs and stuff. And then I bought my own place. Didn't run that well. Bad decision. Lost a lot of money.
Of course. But again, you tried it.
Yeah, I tried. You understand? And now everybody has a spot.
Exactly.
You know, everyone has a spot, you know?
They always look like they're doing well on Instagram. Though. That's another story for another time.
You understand?
Yeah.
And then now with the podcasting thing, when I started, no one took this thing seriously. Now everyone's got a podcast.
Jeez.
You understand what I'm saying?
Fortunately, though, and the beauty of it is you showing that you're pioneering these things.
Yeah.
You know, and you're leading when everybody else is just following.
But I think that's because I'm not a follower.
Yeah.
So even now, like, that's why I didn't know you.
Yes.
And I honestly don't know a lot of people.
Interesting. Yes, I've picked that up.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't know a lot of people.
Nah, I don't.
I remember who came here. Shampunizer came here.
Yeah.
She just didn't know who he was.
I keep to myself.
Yes.
I'm tunnel visioned. I don't follow trends.
Yeah.
You understand? So even on social media, I don't follow what celebs are doing. I'm like, oh, cool. Black Coffee's out in Spain, Miami, wherever.
for him.
That's good for him. That's Black Coffee. He's in his own lane. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't focus too much on what other people are doing, and that's why I am able to think of things that people aren't doing because I'm not following.
True. You're not seeing. You're not distracted by.
Yes. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if and that's how things like my piano comes about.
Yes.
The sound, you know, someone
She was just minding their business.
minding their business.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do, because at that
I don't
time,
want to do. Gom was the thing.
you know what I mean?
And houses, it's always been consistently.
But someone
Yeah.
sat down and be like, hey, let me do the log drum like this.
And the whole song and see what happens and do a gong 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 gong. Let me do that.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And everybody else started following.
Exactly. So when you follow too much on what people are doing,
Yeah.
you won't have enough time to be innovative
And to be original.
and
to be you.
original.
Yeah.
And the great thing now with social media is that we're going back to originality, authenticity. If you check on our channel, the views that do the most numbers are the guests who are just authentic,
Yes.
Well, just-
Actually, you're right.
who are just themselves. Like Zotwa is just Zotwa.
Dude.
Israel is just Israel.
Nothing else.
They're not putting up a facade.
They
of how-
forget the cameras are there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty about the space we're in now, because I'm a purist at heart, and purists are winning right now.
Yes.
You know, and when I came up, it wasn't like that. You know, we would get brushed aside because they needed, you know, the it guy.
Yeah.
You
Of course.
know, who the public, who they think the public.
Would react to immediately and
Yeah.
embrace immediately.
Yeah.
We don't have to work hard with this one. He's ready.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here comes MacGyver with his
Yes.
scruffy hair, doesn't look the part.
No
Fuck him.
makeup, no
Yeah, you know?
days.
And then you like, yo, no, guys, I know I don't look the part, but I know what people want to hear.
Yeah.
Just give me a chance.
Jeez,
You
that's
know?
the clip we're going to use when we promote this.
You know, so it's a beautiful space to be a purist right now.
Yeah.
If you're a purist, you will go find whatever you do, whether it's music. If you keep to
To really who you are.
that's where people, that's where we're headed now.
Your love for music remains consistent, and it's something that you always want to create.
Yeah.
How has that gone, and how is it going, and how do you see it going forward?
Look, man, I don't do music for money or to get gigs. It's literally just a hobby. I really love music, man. And, you know, I've always aspired to so many producers. Like, I was on my way here now. I was listening to Sunny L. And the music it makes, I'm like, fuck, I wish I could make this music. You know, but I think it stems from my uncle, you know, being in the taxi and DJing for him there.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Being the guy that entertains.
Yeah, but it's a hobby for me. It could be like knitting.
Yes.
You know, I got a lot of hobbies. I like gaming.
Okay.
You know, but yeah, that's what it is. And I've got so many songs. I've been producing since 2012.
That are just sitting.
Yeah,
People haven't heard.
I've got about 300 songs because I care too much.
to take it out.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
not
wonder
right.
if I release a song and someone says it's pop, it really hurt me.
Oh no.
You know?
But this
Because I love
getting it right.
so much.
Yeah.
The radio, you can say whatever because
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Uh.
So I know what works and I'm confident there. With the music, I'm not so confident. So
You care if somebody says, "Aye, son."
yeah, it would really knock my confidence if someone said the song is whack.
You would stop making them.
Yeah. So that's why I collaborate a lot. So if you check all the music I've released, it's always MacG and someone. Because I need them to give me a stamp of approval to say, yeah, no, this is dope. And then we can release it.
And who's banging it right now? Sanel, you were saying who sounds really good right now
Oh,
musically?
Man. Demtuda,
Okay.
Kabza.
Yeah, he's hot.
Ah, man.
He's evergreen.
That guy's a genius. That guy's a genius.
It's actually quite mind-boggling what he's able to do.
And his story is similar to mine.
Yeah.
You know Kabza, they used to give him a case of alcohol
Yeah.
and he used to DJ the whole night. No, not a
Jeez.
case, sorry, man, a 6-pack.
Yeah. Okay.
So he'd play late, maybe from 8 p.m.
Yeah.
until 4 in the morning.
Wait a minute.
And they only gave him one 6-pack. And then the big DJs at the time, so right now it'd be Maporisa, for
Yes,
example,
exactly.
would come and get the bottles and get the shine and whatever.
And get an hour.
Yeah, and get an
Yes.
hour rock and get the money.
Jeez.
And he was just there, working on his
Playing.
craft, listening to the music.
Wow.
And now he's reaping those rewards.
Jeez, talk about reaping rewards. You go to Spotify now, a guy hits numbers that are just unbelievable.
You know what I mean?
And is featured on, he features people on so many songs.
And he's going to be here to stay because it's his passion.
More than that, he adapts very quickly to a sound.
Exactly.
You notice that, that was just another song.
So he did what I did when I'd be on air at night and people would laugh at me that I'm on while people are sleeping.
Exactly.
But they didn't know when I switch off that mic and the link is gone, I'm going on the internet to listen to Howard Stern, to listen to Ryan Seacrest, to listen to Mang Mang, to
You're
better.
mentioning my guys, right?
So to better
Yeah, your craft.
my craft.
Yeah.
You understand? So yes, he was playing from 8 to 4, but he was probably listening to all the different sounds.
Yeah.
So that's why now he can adapt to any sound.
Any sound, yeah.
And that's why the people who are just doing it because a piano is hot will come and go.
Ish.
But the ones who really, really are passionate about this and do it from the heart are always the ones who will get the streams and the love and the recognition because it slaps different when you do something from the heart.
From the heart, yeah. Do other people who, whether you're aware of it or not, consider this an overnight success? If at all it's successful, let's assume for a second that it is.
Yeah.
Are there those who think it is just overnight? It was
I think it's people that don't know me.
yeah.
Because, the game has changed in terms of right now when I go on air, I'm not just talking to people in Joburg.
Which you once did.
Which I once did.
Yeah.
So
Actually, twice on 2 stations. On 2 stations.
yeah,
Yes.
unfortunately, I never got to work at a
A
national
national
stage,
platform.
you know.
Yeah.
But if I was national, then you're talking about South Africa. But there could be someone from Italy,
Yeah.
from China, from Dubai, who is watching this thing but don't know the backstory.
Not at all.
You understand? So I think if you know the backstory of my career, you'd understand that it's been a long time coming. But if you just stumbled upon me because I was trending for being cancelled, or I was recommended on YouTube as watch this,
True.
you might not know. But people that know that it's not an overnight success.
Now they'll know.
Yeah.
Now they'll know.
It's been probably 12 years,
Jeez.
15 years
Of
in
a hard
making.
graft, of
Yeah.
being ignored.
Yeah.
What was the tipping point in the past 8-9 months, maybe? What was that moment that said, "Hey, I can see this thing is tilting to the right direction"? What show was that? What recording was that?
It was that Zinhle interview, man.
That's it.
That's it. I
Yeah.
knew from that day that this thing is going to be big because the impact that I had on radio. Okay, the impact the podcast had
Yeah.
in 4, 5, 6 months when it started, right, was far bigger than the impact that I had on
All your radio career.
combined. Combined.
That's amazing.
That's when I was like, fuck,
This is working.
this thing is going to be big.
Jeez.
That's like, yo, yeah, that's when I knew, okay, cool.
It's working
There's
and it's
something
going to
here.
work. Yeah.
There's something here.
The-
So let me focus all my eggs on this.
The Chillers brand is such a cool brand. Which it started with Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
And now that yours is bigger than the Netflix and chill phrase.
Yeah.
With podcast and chill. And I like how you care so much for not only the Chillers, but also the brand that obviously encompasses this. Because even after your show, actually maybe you should tell them, what do you do after recording your show with the Chillers?
So after the show, we do a lot of stuff. Like we've got this thing on Patreon now where we go live and we take questions from the chillers.
Yeah.
And that's up for Patreons.
And that's not shown anywhere, essentially.
Yeah,
right?
it's literally for people that are on Patreon and members.
Yeah.
Because it's important to give value to those people. But Podcast and Chill, the name came about. I was with Len, we were drinking. It's like, so we're gonna call this podcast. And at the time, the phrase Netflix and Chill was popping. So we're like, Podcast and Chill.
That's it.
Then I whipped out Canva, did the logo, literally in like 10 minutes.
It's been the same since.
Yeah, we did the cassette thing, Podcast and Chill. Let's rock, Chief. And we rocked it. And then there was a lady from the UK who we had on the show somehow. And she's like, so what are we going to call ourselves? Like, Beyonce has the Beehive.
Oh, yes, okay.
And then she's like, how about we call ourselves Chillers?
Wow.
And then we're like, dope. Done. We're going to call each other Chillers now. And Chillers are so important and they get me into trouble. You know how many friendships I've lost in the industry because of the Chillers?
What do they do? How do they get you in trouble?
Even my relationship, my woman.
Yeah.
Hey.
Actually, I remember you told me that it doesn't quite like the Chillers sometimes.
Because I knew from very early on that this thing has to be about the Chillers. If it's not going to go anywhere. And that's why I have the phrase for the sake of the podcast.
Yes.
So it's literally like for the sake of content.
Yeah.
So I will do anything
For the sake of these
for
guys.
the sake of the podcast,
Yeah.
for the sake of content, to entertain them, because every single thing that I have, this thing that I'm wearing, my shoes, my jeans, my car,
The car, yes.
my house where I'm renting, it's all because of them.
Yeah.
Without them, I'm literally nothing. I'm not kidding.
Jeez.
That's why I've always mentioned, if you check my previous episodes from when we started, I'm like, celebrities will come and go. Sponsors will come and go. But the Chillers, that's who I work for. Those are my sponsors.
Do you know which brand knows that more right now?
Who?
Kaiser Chiefs. You know, when all is said and done, these guys will support us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I always, no matter at what cost,
Yeah.
I've lost friendships with celebrities where I'll say something, and they'll call me and be like, why did you say that
About me.
about me?
Mm.
And I always say the same thing. I'm like, yo, dude, I have an obligation to always be honest to my chillers. It's chillers first, the rest, everyone else after.
Yeah.
Even my woman, when we fight, I'll go on air and say, hey, me and my woman, we fought. 1, 2, 3 happened. She'll be like, why the fuck are you doing that? I'm like, hey, dude, I have to be honest.
This is a private conversation.
Yeah, I'm like, they can see I'm not happy. They must know why.
Yeah.
It's only when I make me happy, then I won't.
I like that.
Yes, that.
Make me happy.
You know, because at the end of the day, the celebrities are not the ones who buy the grandeur.
No.
The celebrities are not the ones who buy
Yeah.
the merch.
They don't fill up the stadium.
They don't fill up the stadium.
Yeah.
It's the chillers.
That's true.
So once you lose that, you've lost the podcast.
yeah. It's all gone essentially.
It's all gone.
Imagine one morning you woke up and you had 10 subscribers.
You understand?
And they're all celebrities.
You understand?
Yes.
Because when all these publications want to do interviews or when these brands want to work with me, it's because of the numbers. And the numbers are the chillers.
That's true.
So I knew from the get-go that if I can keep the chillers happy, anything can come.
You should say that to your woman over and over again.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why at all times I try to be honest. Unless we talk about black coffee, because I can't be objective about him.
Interesting. Interesting. I've seen that video where you said, but he's a great guy. You always bring that back. He's a good guy. He doesn't pay the lights, but he's a good guy.
You understand? And what celebs don't understand is that it's nothing personal, bro.
Yeah.
I'm at work. I have to be honest
Yes.
to these people. Otherwise, if I'm not, they're gonna tell, MacGyver.
But don't you run the risk of being too honest, and then, as you said, you've lost friends at the detriment of something that also matters on the other side? Well,
No.
you seem to have chosen a side, which
No,
is
not
quite
at all.
clear.
Because to be honest with me, I'm not in the industry.
Yeah.
I've never been part of the clique or the cool crew. So I don't have industry friends.
Yeah.
I can probably name them in my hand. You know, it's Bobstar, Biggs and Terrace. And these are guys that, because like fortunate enough, I've been in the industry for so long and I noticed at an early age that the industry is fake. All right?
You only need it for something. and that's it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. If trust me, the people coming on my podcast now, it's not because they love me
Yeah.
or they think I'm this great guy. It's because they know they need to come on the
They
platform.
want to ride it.
Yeah, you understand?
Yes.
So I've never been part of the clique in the industry. So even when I say I've burnt friendships, it wasn't really a friendship. You know, I've always been friends with the same kind of people, which is people that I went to high school with. You know, Woti, Robo, Mudishe, Teboho, Timani. Those are my friends. You know, so I'd never do anything to jeopardize that friendship or my family. But I don't really care about what celebs think and what their opinions are because they were never there when I was
Yes.
broke.
Yes. Yes.
And I didn't have...
Interesting. That's Zuma's defense to the Guptas.
You know what I mean?
He says, these guys were there when I needed
Exactly.
somebody to help me.
You know, and when I moved in, when I had to sell my house and move in with my woman and was staying in this 1-bedroom apartment, no one was there. No one was calling me saying, hey, listen, are you okay?
I left 100K at the security guards.
So why should I care?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
And the people that were there are the chillers.
Yeah.
The people that were there are the chillers. They are the ones who would subscribe, and I'd get 1,000 rand from YouTube, and I could go to my woman and say, "Baby, ufuna ukudlani vandag?" What do you want to eat?
What is it? What did you speak about last night? Andicious or something?
Yeah.
Andicious.
You know what I mean? So I've never really, I couldn't care less.
Yeah,
with celebs.
and you do come across that way. I know with the Boity comment, you don't seem to care much.
No, Boyti
Where-
does nothing for me.
How that comment lands, whatever.
Boyti adds no value in my life. And
Yeah.
I'm not just saying her name because I know people are going to say I've got an agenda against Boyti. I don't. Previous to that comment, we did an episode where we were like, fuck, Boiti is amazing.
Yes.
We're like, she's not only one of the best female rappers, she's just a good rapper in general.
Yeah.
But that will never trend.
And a surprising rapper because we didn't see it coming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're praising her.
Yeah.
But that will never.
No.
Because it's not good for clicks and you know what I mean? No. So when I say that comment, it's not like I have anything against Boiti. We're playing a game. I made a
Yes.
comment.
That's
You understand?
it. Yes.
And whether she hates me or whatever she thinks of me, it doesn't impact me. She adds no value in my life at all.
Because you quite, and I like
And
that.
I'm saying that to other celebrities as well, not just her.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like
you are, yeah.
yeah.
You know,
None of these celebrities add any value in my life at all.
the chillers matter more. Way more.
Yeah. That's why I have time for anyone who subscribes, anyone who buys the merch, anyone who contributes in any shape or form. Even people that watch and don't subscribe. But
They add the numbers.
they add the numbers,
Yeah.
right? I have the utmost respect and time for them. So if I meet a chiller and I have to do something and it's very important, I will literally sit there and stand there for 5-10 minutes and give them my time because I am what I am because of
They
them.
want to take pictures. They want
Yes.
to just chat. And
Exactly.
That's it. Yeah.
But if you are gonna go on Twitter and speak shit, or whether it's good or bad, I couldn't really care less because you don't add any value. You know, because you are just.
What is the future of and it's a common question I get about the future of radio / podcasting. And the reason I ask this is because you said it over and over again in this chat that your podcasting created a far bigger persona of MacG than the radio did.
Oh, yeah.
And surely, if that's able to do that in 2020, 2021, it must say something about where we're going as a digital community, you know, and because 5FM now has probably far more people on digital than they do on FM dial.
Yeah.
And that's very interesting at this time. It tells you of their audience and how their audience is behaving.
Yeah.
What do you say to where we're going in terms of this in the space?
Well, you see, I'm gonna empower the competition.
You can say, you know, the Colonel Sanders KFC spice. He just tells you about the salt. The rest
No,
you
but it's
figure
fine.
it out.
No, it's fine. I'll say it because it will be good for the industry, regardless. Because this thing is bigger than me. You understand? So, radio will never die.
Yeah.
It's free, right? So there'll always be a place for radio. Whether the content that's being dished out right now is conducive, and that's a debate on its own.
Yeah.
But I think the people in the spaces, the program managers, the station managers, are trying to compete with digital when they can live parallel.
Yeah.
I
They can
think
coexist.
they can coexist
Yeah.
because it only amplifies what you're doing. So, for example, I don't know till this day why there isn't a radio station in South Africa that broadcasts their show from midnight until midnight on YouTube.
We don't have that.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Why?
From beginning to end. And
There's no way in this day and age that you can have a radio show and it cannot be. There can't be cameras.
in the show.
Yes.
Yes.
It makes no sense.
Interesting. We were talking about that, and you were telling me of a show that's doing it in the US.
In the UK.
The UK
US,
rather.
Yeah,
yes.
they're all doing
They have
that.
cameras and they're live all the time.
All the time, live.
Yes.
And the conversation on the radio show, the YouTube is now part of the conversation. So they read comments from YouTube.
It's not just on Twitter, on Facebook. It's YouTube as a part of it now.
So they go live on Facebook, YouTube. They stream all the shows, not just the breakfast and the drive time. So now when you do that, you are now enhancing the product that you serve, and you're now reaching more people. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Like there shouldn't be a show right now on radio that's not on YouTube, that's not on Facebook. That's where the people are. We are here, Chief.
all the time.
We are here.
Yeah.
There's so many shows, growing up, when we were on school holidays, because obviously in the morning when you go to school, you listen to Fresh.
Yeah.
School holidays, I'd set an alarm at 6, wake up, listen to Fresh until
When
10.
at Y at the time.
Yeah, at White. And then after 10, I go back to sleep. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Basically you woke up too early.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to listen to this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You understand? Now, we're living at a time where, there's Corona, people are working more from the house and stuff, so you don't really get in the car to listen. But why is it that if YFM interviewed Casper this morning on the show, why can't I go on their page
And catch
and
it.
catch up
Yeah.
and watch it
Yeah. It should be obvious.
at my own time?
It should be obvious.
You know what I mean? And I think that's where it's heading. If you're not playing in that space, you'll become obsolete.
Very soon.
Yeah.
And it's hard to pull in the numbers because some people say digital divide could be the issue, where there's still a lot of people in South Africa who don't have access to.
That's
the
a
net.
myth.
Yeah.
That's a myth. If you check the highest grossing numbers on YouTube, it's generations.
Yes.
Who's that LSM?
It's
One
at
to-
least
one to
one to
four,
5,
one
1
to
to
five.
6. Yeah.
Those are the people that we keep saying don't
They
have
don't have-
data.
yes.
Mara, they're the ones watching.
We're watching on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Jeez, I didn't know that number.
Yeah, you must Google.
The generation is doing well on YouTube.
Yes, you must check the numbers.
Interesting. I've always known in certain meetings at the SABC that there's revenue that comes from YouTube.
Ridiculous.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
There's some number on our balance sheet. Who's that?
Yeah. So it's a myth that people can't access.
Yeah.
They find ways. If your content is good enough, people will find a way
To watch it.
to watch it.
Whether they download it now and watch it later, that they'll find a way to watch it.
Yeah.
Jeez. So you're saying, whoever you are, competition or not, let's get onto this bus.
Yeah.
Because this bus is moving with or without you.
With or without, it's moving.
Jeez.
You know?
Do you miss conventional radio?
Not at all. I've had a taste of the good life. Akumnandi podcast. It's too nice. It's too nice. It's too nice. But I mean, if I were to go back on radio, I could still do it.
Yes.
Because
You
I'm
could do
a
it on the
broadcaster.
side,
You know, I
yes.
always, I was doing an interview on ACBC News with Peter Ndoro.
Yeah.
So I put a tweet, hey, catch me on ACBC, whatever. And then this guy comments, like, please don't sway. I'm like,
Because we don't do that.
yeah.
Yes.
But like people think the way I am on the podcast
It's
is
who you are all the time.
all the time. You know, like I'm gonna go on radio and say fuck this, fuck that. Hey, like dude, I've been broadcasting for more than 15 years.
Yeah.
I never got fired for swearing.
Yes. So that you're conscious of the environment you're in.
Yes, because I'm a broadcaster.
Yeah.
If we're doing talk radio, I know how to conduct myself for talk radio.
You're not a loose cannon.
No. You
You
understand?
come across as one, though. I must
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
You come across as a complete loose cannon.
No, there's method to the madness.
And because I interact with you when I watch you do your show and I see your show and I talk to you off air, I talk to you in meetings, people don't realize that there's very different people in all those scenarios.
Yeah. If I got a radio show, I would kill it. With
And-
my eyes closed.
And won't say,
Not even. Not even.
look, I couldn't say it.
Yeah.
I couldn't say the F word.
See, there's many ways and tricks and there's many different ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
It's easy to say how many girls have you slept with?
Yeah.
Or would you smash?
Yes.
But it's hard to say that without saying that.
That's true.
Samantha Cowan taught me that.
That it's not, it's hard to say it without saying it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing on the podcast is very easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to say, hey, dude, how many girls did you smash?
Uh-huh.
But if I'm on radio, how do I ask that?
And therein lies the trick.
And that's why now you have to be a broadcaster. So then now you start going, in an event, you're stuck on an island. Which girl would you take with? Mm-hmm. You understand?
Yeah.
Something like that.
It makes a reference.
Yes.
I remember I was talking about chest hair, and I wanted to use the word you find. Do girls still find chest hair sexy? Because in olden TV, you'll find a guy with his shed open. And I didn't want to use the word sexy because I knew it'll have a sexual connotation for some people. Because it's always a thin line on radio. You're likely to offend someone.
Yes.
And I used the word find interesting. Because, it sounds the same thing.
Yeah.
And therein lies the trick. And not everybody's able to pull it off. I realize.
Yes. And that's how I'll give you a trick now. Because everyone's always asking me, how do you do your interviews? I can't give you the whole sauce,
Yeah.
but I'll give you some
Salt.
Yeah.
Salt is enough.
So even with interviews, there's a difference. That's what I'm saying. There's so many tricks.
Yeah.
And when I say I'm a broadcaster, I actually mean it. Like I could go on Idols and be a judge tomorrow.
And you won't say fuck.
No. But anyway.
You might just sound like you'll have a like. Can I,
No.
producer? Can I use the real word here?
When you do an interview with someone, there's a difference. That's why research is important. There's a difference in the way you ask someone. So, if I ask you now, Brother David, what high school did you go to?
Yeah.
What high school did you go to?
Vlakfontein High School in Pretoria, in Mamelodi.
All right. How's it going? How was it going to high school at Vlakfontein in Mamelodi?
Yeah. I liked it. Sometimes I hated it.
You see, there's a difference. So, when you say, what high school did you go to? It's impersonal. It sounds like an interview. But when you say, how was it?
You want a description.
How was it going to Vlakfontein in Mamelodi? Now, that's a different ball game because it shows like I've interest in you as a person. It shows like I've researched and I'm invested, and it feels like we are together.
Yes. We're having a chat.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those are the type of the tricks that one can do
Yeah.
to yeah, you get what I'm saying?
No. I got it.
Yeah.
I fully got it.
Yeah.
And that's
There's
why
a difference between what high school did you go to
you're likely to get an answer, a solid answer,
Yeah.
with the first question.
Yes.
You're likely to get a descriptive answer,
Exactly.
which leads to
more,
more questions.
exactly.
And then the conversation just flows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was your day versus did you have a crappy day today?
Yes.
Yeah, the one gives you a yes,
Yes.
or a no. The other one says, "Do you know my boss did this?" And
Yeah.
then there's a song and dance.
Yeah.
Efforts to get Trevor Noah
Oh yeah.
on the show.
Yeah.
Is it something that? Why does it matter?
So what it matters is that I wanted to do something because I always see celebrities going on about if you believe it, it will happen.
Yeah.
You know.
I preach that a lot.
Yeah. whatever.
Inside of my head.
You know,
Yeah.
we always see this in interviews. Everyone. It sounds
Yeah.
cliche. Everyone always says it. So I wanted to take people on a journey to say, okay, cool. I want to interview Trevor. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm going to keep persisting. I'm going to keep on doing it, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. But I want to take people on this journey so that when it does happen, people can realize that saying is actually true.
Do you remember when he first said it?
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I wanted to practice that saying instead of just saying it.
Yeah.
And also, it's good content.
I know. I've never met anyone who's so fixated with content. You probably wake up in the middle of the night and say, "I thought of content."
I do that all the time. My woman hates
I
it.
know. Because I talk to you and you say, "That's content." It's like, dude, you can't do that.
My woman will talk about serious things. I'm meant to be serious here. And she can see when my eyes are now going into contact mode. I'm like, oh shit, that's content.
Do you know what happens to your face when you go into content mode? You space out, like I'm spacing out now.
Yeah.
You're no longer talking to this person. Yeah. Now it's like, do you know that's content? I've seen you do that. So wack.
I live for content and I can't turn it off, man. It's crazy.
Is it something that you've always been? Because we use the word content now because of the time we live in. But radio has always been content.
Yeah.
Television content has always been content.
Yeah.
So you've always had to do content.
Yeah.
For as long as you've lived, really.
Yeah.
So as long as you've been doing this.
Yeah, 100%.
So now you just have a word for it.
Yeah, 100%. And I can't turn it off. It's weird. I can't.
Where do you draw most of it? In a conversation with Jeremy Mansfield, sitting right there, he said, "I'm the most curious idiot you'll ever find." I eavesdrop in so many conversations, I can't help myself. And where do you draw the most inspiration for content?
For me, it's about doorstep issues. Stuff that is relatable. So I think like in everyone's life is content, man. Like life in general is just
Is
content.
content.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's all there,
Yeah.
And I think that's when it becomes more relatable. When you talk about stuff that affects normal people. You understand? And it's weird. I'm not a curious person. I've heard even Joe Rogan is like
Yes,
that.
yes.
Very curious.
Extremely.
Yeah.
He does literally the most simple podcast anyone can ever do, but it comes from his curiosity. That's his ability to be able to keep going with this conversation. Because you listen to Joe Rogan's questions, they are questions that anybody would want to ask, and I think that's where it comes from with you.
No, I think with me, I don't
You
like.
see, you had that moment.
I don't like talking about myself.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more of a distraction.
Ah.
So it's like, no, let's not talk about me. Let's talk about this person.
And let's keep going there.
Yes. I think so.
That's where you are.
Yes. Because I enjoy doing celeb interviews, man.
It comes across.
And finding out about that person, how
Yeah.
they take, how they think. And I enjoy that more than this.
Yes,
Like talking
yes,
about
talking
myself.
about you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I find that more. So maybe it's a defense mechanism.
Do you find that they enjoy talking about themselves?
Yeah, no, people love talking about themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's just, it's,
Me.
yeah. It's,
When I was,
yeah,
I did.
yeah, it's just habit. Human. But I don't.
And it
I
works
hate
for you, and then it works for you because
works
then
for
there's
me.
always people to talk to.
Plenty.
It's a subject that you would not touch.
Nah,
When you always look at, it's like,
there's nothing.
you'll hoy.
Anything.
So we're still expecting stuff on religion here.
Yeah, yeah.
If we go there, we go there.
Yeah, we go there, man. It's life. Why
Because
not?
all of life is content.
Yeah. Is there some things that you wouldn't talk about?
No, not necessarily.
Yeah.
But I always avoid, on public radio is very different. I always avoid deliberately being the controversial one in conversations. It's not necessary sometimes. Then I'd rather get someone to say the controversial thing.
How do you deem controversy and
You see,
controversial thing?
interesting, where I know that this, whether you like it or not, is likely to offend someone. I can tell, I can see it, it's heading there. There's someone who's going to be offended. The thing though, and this is a BCCSA training, you'll always offend someone. That's just life. Not all of us are the same. Not all of us were raised the same. Not all of us see the world the same. That's the beauty of life. Somebody will walk away from this conversation unhappy for whatever reason. And that's just the reality of it. But avoid that person taking action. that's the trick. If you're going to offend him enough for him to understand your perspective and move on from it. That chest hair thing had a BCCSA complaint.
Yeah, yeah.
You see how simple it seemed, but somebody really took serious offense. So controversy, I born. MacG, you know your controversy. You can't tell me you're not aware of when you are about to step on toes.
No, not at all. I think it's a loose tongue, like you said
Yes.
in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because 2-3 weeks ago, we had a high school reunion. So I'm there with my boys. Remember the ones I told you about?
Yes.
So I'm there with my boys, with the other people who went to high school with at the reunion. I was excited, man. So I was just excited to see these people. It's been years.
Yeah.
And I had a bit to drink. And my mouth is just
It's super loose.
super loose. I'm spilling beans about stuff we did back then.
That were kept a secret.
Yes.
Ah.
I took out everything. In plain sight, I'm like, hey, Tito, remember we did this? He's like, no, what are you talking about? I'm like, Tito, you're throwing me under the bus. Like, dude. Yeah. So eventually, the morning after, I literally had to call all my friends and apologize. I'm like, Jen, sorry. I didn't know what we were not supposed to speak about. You understand? So is that controversy?
Yeah. Well, it is. Because there's someone who's likely to be offended by it. And now, and I like that, you concluded by saying the following morning I called them to apologize. If you had the ability to see it in hindsight,
Yeah.
which is something we don't have,
Yeah.
you would have been able to realize that.
Yes.
That, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
So I guess there's something to be said about the kind of people who do broadcasting like you do. Flip, I'll tell you this much. I envy you so much. I wish I was able to do it.
Yeah.
They don't have a filter.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
And most of us do because we stay in the safe lane.
Yeah.
But you always like, damn it, I wish I could say that. I can't. So the fact that you're able to jump that filter and still be okay, damn it, man, it's great world you live in. I envy it because I could never do it.
Yeah.
I do save, happy, let's sing Kumbaya together type radio.
Yeah.
It works. There's always room for that type of
100%,
radio.
yeah.
I always make reference to Eddie Zondi. He died literally one of the biggest jocks on radio today. And he did literally the simplest radio you can ever find. He played you your favorite song, and that's all that mattered. He told you who, he would throw a middle name of that artist if he knew it, and that's it.
And there's an art in that.
Jeez, dude.
There's an art.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was able to pull it off for so long.
Yeah.
Your kid, Ziggy.
Yeah.
How did he end up with the name Ziggy?
It's
You
his
didn't win
mother.
that.
No, I wanted MacGyver Jr. But I got dibs on the next one.
You're taking full control. You may need to write a contract now.
Yeah, Ziggy was from his mother. And then Dembe is my mother.
Okay.
And then Atsile is her mother.
Her mother. Oh, so it's on a name and the vendor name and Ziggy Mali.
Yeah, Ziggy Mkwebo.
Jeez, man. So and how is it raising a boy? You know, because we raised in a time when boys are always in so much, and I use the word trouble largely because of our upbringing. Half the stuff nobody taught us, and we get in trouble so much. And most of it, you would expect us to have our own sense of logic to say, don't do that, you shouldn't do that. How is it raising a boy with all this narrative that we exist in now?
For me, it's amazing, man. I don't even think about in the state of the world that we are in now. It's just about doing the best that I can for him. And yeah, man, that guy is fucking amazing, man.
He's the one that says on the intro of
Hinda.
the podcast, Hinda.
Yeah, we're at home one day, and I was just playing around with him. I'm like, say Hinda, what do you mean? And then I took some of the best parts. I took the best part, and then we made it a jingle.
Right, it works.
Yeah. But he's amazing, man. That guy is so young, yet he's totally different from me.
Yeah.
He's the total opposite. He's a clean freak.
Jeez.
Perfectionist. He thinks before he does things.
Wow.
He's like the total opposite, actually. I must ask if that's my son. He's cautious. Like when
Nothing you do.
no, he's the total opposite. Like when he's playing with other kids, he's the one who'll go in and he's quiet.
Yeah, I know, very
Observes.
quiet.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
observes.
Yeah.
He observes the other kids. And then when he's comfortable, then he becomes the leader.
Oh, okay.
You
Wow,
know.
that's true quality of leadership.
Yeah.
Say
so-
very little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even now, because he stays with my girlfriend's parents in
Yeah.
Rustenburg, and my girlfriend has a younger brother who's older than Ziggy. The younger brother's like 13, 14.
Okay.
But they play together.
Yeah.
But he bosses the uncle.
Bosses the uncle. Jeez. So you can already see the leadership quality.
Nah, he's going to be special. I think he'll be, whatever he's going to do, he'll be better than I am.
Yeah.
Dude, you have no idea.
I've seen him. You brought him here once and he was just quiet throughout the whole time. Playing literally, I think he was playing with a video game or something.
Yeah.
He did not say a single word.
Yeah.
For some reason, I concluded he's probably not at talking age yet. But obviously he is, but he didn't say a single word.
Yeah. And he's very antisocial.
Yeah.
Does his own thing. No. Hey, when you are that. He's more mature than me, funny enough.
How old is he?
5.
He's 5 and
Yeah.
he's more mature than
He
you.
washes his own dishes, does his own bed.
Things that you...
And he doesn't want help. I'll be like, Ziggy, I'll be like, hey,
I got this.
I got this.
Wow, man.
Crazy, man.
Jeez.
Yeah.
If it was you were raising a girl right now, what would you tell them?
I don't want a girl. Eh? Hey, they're gonna rock her.
That's your fear.
I got a lot of enemies. Eh? I'm gonna rock her.
That kids. They'll say, "Sa."
Yeah.
What would you say to her? Because these are such tricky times.
That's a difficult one, eh?
Yeah.
But I think if I had a girl, it'd be Yeah, man. Sure. So
Look
so
at you applying your mind. Like,
it's crazy. Like I've always, like you're saying, live
Yeah.
life without worrying about tomorrow.
that's true.
But I was having a conversation with my girl. I was like, and she asked me, what would you do if our next kid was a girl?
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, shit, a lot of things would change.
Yeah. Even about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd move different, man, because I'd want to be there to protect her.
Yeah.
You know?
What would immediately change about the way you conduct yourself, for argument's sake, even on your broadcast?
Maybe the way I speak about women.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we grew up listening to hip hop. I grew up listening to Eminem. He's talking about if J-Lo was my mother, I'd still fuck her with no rubber.
And that line makes it to the final product, and young people grow up singing it along.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I mean, there's a song where he's got his wife or his baby mama trapped in the boot and he's killing her and he's chopping her up in a chainsaw. You know,
This is an era of what is this game with cars and they stab?
GTA.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's that era.
but when we grew up, every hip hop song was like "fuck you, bitch," "suck my dick."
Jeez.
That's all you know.
And it's easy to think that you're logical enough to ignore that.
Yeah.
But it's not that easy to ignore it.
So
as a child.
So now growing up, when you start having female friends and you start getting into the space, you have people like Dino Ranak who now say, no, dude, you can't say that.
Yeah. It's wrong.
It's wrong.
Yes.
You're like, but why? You're like, no, this is
You don't even understand why you can't say it.
because that's all you grew up listening to.
Yeah.
We get indoctrinated.
Indoctrinated,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And most of us don't have fathers who can sit you down and say, this is how you handle a woman.
Yeah.
This is how you treat a woman. This is whatever. You know what I mean? I mean, if you listen to hip hop songs now, that's all they speak about. I fucked your bitch.
Jeez.
I slept with your girl.
Interesting. It just has not changed.
It has not changed.
Yeah. And we ignore the fact that there are young kids who lock themselves in their rooms and listen to the stuff all day long and have no one else to say, but that's not right. And it brings me to this point, and you made reference to it, not having a father figure around. Is that how you describe your upbringing?
I was fortunate enough that my mother never made me feel like I didn't have a father. So when people say, was your father around? No, he was not. And then me and my mother, that's all I knew.
You were good.
So that's my reality. So
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like to...
No siblings, no...
No. My siblings are my cousins.
Yes,
They're pretty
yes.
much like my blood.
Yeah.
I do everything with them. We, at Paparazzi, the club I used to own, one of the reasons why I lost money.
You did everything together.
Yeah, I had all my cousins and then we'd drink the stuff.
I was about to say, you did everything together, including drinking alcohol.
Bad decision.
Well, now you know.
But funny enough, even though I lost money, but just being with my cousins that year when you owned the club, the
Yeah.
memories
Special.
is nothing money can buy. Till this day, we'll talk about, hey, do you remember when Kelly Kumalo and Chup Chup came and they were high in the kitchen and you were doing this and whatever.
Is that a true story?
True story.
Jeez, man.
Money can't buy those things.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah.
Because
but
it comes across that you never make reference to your dad. Where is he?
No, he's around. I was with him 2 weeks ago.
So you get along well.
Yeah, we cool now.
Oh, there was a time when...
Yeah, there was a time growing up I never spoke to him.
Is it because you didn't know where he was, or what was the story?
There was no interest from either party.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But because my mom has never said, no, don't talk to him. She's always like, hey, there's your dad. He's there. If you want to talk to him, I'm like, cool, whatever. But I think now we're at a good place, man. I was talking to him. I went to go see him and he introduced me to my other siblings.
Okay.
And he's got a young kid who looks just like me.
Jeez.
But he's taller.
Excuse.
Yeah.
You missed that on that one.
But we cool, man. Like, there's no
Yeah.
animosity. There's never been. It's just one of those things. I didn't have a father.
You didn't, and that's it. Yeah.
That's it. There was no, like...
Didn't he make effort though to try to
No,
to
he
relate.
didn't.
Yeah.
Nah, but he is now.
And you didn't hold it against him.
No,
Because
not
it's easy
at
to
all.
say about this guy.
Nah, not at all. I mean, now being a father myself, I know, that apart from everything else, just, that relationship, as little as it is sufficient.
But do you understand that it matters as well
Yeah.
for a child to be exposed to their dad in that way?
100%. That's
Yeah.
why I tell my woman, or whether we break up or not, don't worry, I'll always be there.
Yeah.
Because I know what it's like to grow up without,
Yes. A
you know.
dad around.
But with Zig, I don't think I have to do much work because he tells me shit. That guy tells me shit.
He reprimands you. He calls you to order. That's amazing, eh?
Yeah.
DJ career, is it something that still matters to you? I mean, the club, the playing,
Nah, not really. I'm over that, man.
Yeah. You don't even want to take advantage of the growth of the MacG brand, and then you get a Black Coffee dream.
No, man. I think it's time to give other kids a chance, man.
Yeah.
I did it, wore the T-shirt. It was great. I mean, at the time I was young. I mean, in one weekend I'd make my wife and salary just from gigs.
Jeez.
Get there, girls, alcohol. I'm in a different space now, man, where that stuff doesn't fascinate me
Anymore, eh?
Yeah, but I do still love playing. I mean, some people get me out of retirement.
Once in a while.
Yeah, my
they
looms-
would call you and book you. And
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
My Looms on Decks booked me 4 weeks ago. They're like, hey, Mama, can you still play? I'm like, yeah. And they booked me because they got a club in Kempton Park.
Okay. Before the
yeah.
level 4, yes.
Then I went there, rocked it, and they're like, hey, my man, we didn't know you can still play. I'm like, chief.
You don't
This thing is
lose
like
it.
says, once you can fuck, you can always fuck.
Why don't you use driving a car? Why do you go to that example? You
Sure,
see,
Ziggy.
do you see? That's funny. Do you see how safe I am?
Yeah.
Why don't you use riding a bicycle? Jeez, man, I operate in this lane,
Yeah.
where things are safe.
Yeah.
Where is podcasting chill going, in your opinion? Where is its future? Or where you want it to be? Remember, we gave it a 20-year peak.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think now it's gonna break boundaries. So every contract that I'm discussing now, every deal that I'm discussing now, is gonna be a benchmark for a few years. However, I do feel like there will be a time when there's gonna be a lot of podcasts, man.
Yes, that's true.
And it's just gonna be normal to
For anybody to
So
have a
like the numbers I'm
podcast.
doing now, everyone's like, oh wow, look at these numbers, crazy numbers. But I think it's gonna become a point where these
They're
kind of numbers are
normal.
normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think
What would lead to that? Is it the price of accessibility? Because that could be a hindrance as well.
not really. I think it's more people jumping into the space.
Yeah.
There's a lot of podcasters who always feel like I'm competing with them or whatever. No, I'm not. I'm competing with Joe Rogan, Joe Budden. You know what I mean?
And interesting, your numbers in South Africa, some days, some weeks, they beat Joe Rogan's numbers.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I want more and more people in the space because the more podcasts we have, the more it will grow.
Yeah.
So that's why I find it funny when other podcasters think like I'm
There's
competing with
competition.
them. No.
You want them to do it.
I want them.
Interesting. Our first conversation was exactly that. Let's
Yeah.
get everybody in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the more podcasts, the more advertisers will see, okay, cool, there's actually value in this, know? Because podcasting is an advertiser's dream.
It is. For many reasons. The ad stays there.
Yeah.
You can play it over and over again.
There was a guy, who was it, man? I forgot. But someone gave me a shirt. I didn't know who it belonged to. I wore the shirt on the episode on podcast.
What was on it?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Because I know one of the shirts you've worn was the one with the slingshot.
Slingshot. No, that was paid for.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was
Yes.
advertised. But this was just random day I wore this shirt. And that guy said he sold out
Wait a
within
minute.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Just because I wore that shirt. I didn't say anything.
You swore it and carried on with your life.
You understand what I'm saying? So now, if you're a brand and you associate with someone who's got that much influence, it can only bode well for your sales.
For yours, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And that's where it's going.
And that's where it's going. And
if it's not already there.
you know,
Yeah.
so the more people have in the space, the more advertisers will now realize that, oh, okay, actually this is a serious thing.
Are there people who have, and we've alluded to this earlier, who called you only after the podcast, and there was a time where they probably wouldn't have cared for a MacG?
Oh, every day. Every day.
Yes.
Every day. But because I've been in the industry and I know how this industry is, I'm not phased. I know it's a trade exchange.
That's true.
It's a transaction.
Bring me this, I bring you that. We
You know.
good? We'll talk again.
So I know, okay, cool. When I was nothing, you didn't call me. But now that I'm something, you want to call, it's cool.
Let's talk.
Cool, let's talk. Got a great story. Here's a platform.
Yes.
What are you doing? What are we pushing? Let's push.
Are we likely to see your podcast on TV at some point? On traditional everyday television?
Yeah, I think that's just a matter of time.
I like the way you say it. Let the executives decide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a matter of time. But right now, I think it was important for me to solidify myself in SA.
Yeah.
But now is to penetrate the African market.
Yeah.
There's dope things that we want to do in the continent, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I could say the podcast is going.
Immediately. Almost immediately.
Yeah. Africa is the next place where we think we can grow.
And the beauty of podcasting, I guess, is it's already international.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Dude, it's crazy, man. There's people in Dubai, there's people in China, Singapore, Russia
Who watch this
who
stuff?
watch this thing.
Hey, and
You
you
know-
say, what the hell? Who are these people?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you in Russia? Why the fuck are you listening to this podcast?
And I like how people, when they comment on those type of things, it's like still enjoying this in Russia.
Yeah.
And they would write that. It's like, dude.
Yeah, you understand?
Yeah.
So, and that's something that has influenced my content.
Yeah.
So, you find that now, you can't really talk about someone who is just big in the north of Joburg. You know, because
it's very limiting.
it's a disconnect.
Yeah.
So now even when you do content, you have to think about, okay, cool, will someone in America relate to this? So that's why, like, if we talk about, would you ever sleep with your best friend's girl or something?
Yeah.
Anyone,
It's
wherever you are
a
in the
generic
world.
conversation.
You understand?
Yeah.
And because our target market, it has no borders.
True.
You know, we are targeting anyone in the world that has access to this. That's it.
And that's about everybody now.
That's about everyone. And that's the market. I mean, there's 1 billion people that go on YouTube every day.
And the YouTube viewership is growing. When everybody else says, I'm not sure I should start a YouTube channel, you actually would say you should start it because there's so much growth in the viewership. There'll always be someone who thinks your video is interesting.
100%. And the key is just to start. You figure it as you go.
That's the... If there's anything you want to take away from this conversation, start.
Yeah.
Figure it as you go.
I mean, if you watch our first episode, it was a mess. Nightmare.
How bad was
You know,
it?
now we out here in David Mashabela studios. You know, we got proper mics, you know.
Dude.
But all those things don't matter. To be
Interesting.
honest
That's
with
what
you.
I've learned with time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have a great studio like this.
And have a blue light. Means nothing.
But if the content doesn't land, people just want content, man.
Yeah.
You know.
What kind of content do you think South Africans like?
South Africans love gossip.
That's it.
Yeah, they love gossip.
They like ditaba tsa batho.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that love. You can never go wrong with that.
Jeez.
I mean, there's channels with 200,000 subscribers. You've never seen the person's face, but they just report on the gossip every
There's
day.
top 10 reasons why so and so
Yeah.
does this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Because celebrities thrive.
And YouTube will pay you.
They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care what stuff you have.
Yeah. So, man, it's a beautiful space, beautiful time to be in. You know, and, you know, Africa is the next big melting pot whether it's music, podcasts, whatever.
It's here.
It's here.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Whether we like it or not. The question is, will we be in that kumbi?
Yeah.
Or will there be other people in that kumbi taking our stuff?
Yeah.
And that's the question.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then they'll come here and take our stuff.
Yeah.
They've done it. In 1652, they took the land.
Yeah.
So they'll take even our own content
100%.
and own it.
Which is why it's so important to just own your shit, man. Yeah. It's right now, we've seen what COVID has done. But if you own your shit like this, there's always something you can do.
Do you feel COVID has done a lot to speed up the transition, the digital transition?
Yeah.
It forced us.
Yeah.
If we didn't want to do it, we don't have a choice.
Yeah. And it's very hard for me to relate to the struggles that people are going through COVID, because for me COVID was like a blessing.
Yeah. So it's tricky to say itch.
Because
you see it very differently.
I see it very differently.
Yeah. And it's not only you, it's a lot of people who say that.
Yeah.
I have a feature I do on Wednesdays on my show. I speak to small businesses. And I've spoken more to businesses that started in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
And the person says, hey, when I lost my job and there was nothing else to do. Last week I spoke to an Indian lady who started a restaurant. And she says, there was nothing else to do. I lost my job. I loved. She was in tourism. And now there's no one touring. And I started this. And what is happening in my life right now, I'm making more money than I used to when I used to work in tourism. And that's what's happened in your life as well.
Yeah. And it's crazy, man.
And imagine how, who would have thought of this 10 years ago, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
And 2 years ago.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. Next year, I don't know if you know this thing on Twitter. It's called Spaces.
Yes.
And Clubhouse on whatever. They might be the new podcast.
Big thing.
You know what I mean?
It's Spaces, the one where people just have a chat.
You understand
And then everybody else is eavesdropping, essentially.
You understand?
I've seen it and I thought, wow, this is quite fascinating.
Exactly. So now, that could mean in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, the way people consume podcasts might not be as
cool as it is now.
You understand?
They might have moved in that direction.
100%. But what stays the same. So it's not about the tools around you. It's about so if we go to Spaces now, I'm still going to do the same show that I would do on YouTube.
Yeah.
The same show I did at YFM.
Yeah.
947, not so much, because I was just trying to stay safe, not get fired.
You're trying to survive.
I'm trying to survive. I was on survival mode.
Read a live read and go home.
You understand? But throughout all of this, whether it was TV, radio, YouTube, whatever is next, maybe we're doing podcasts from the moon.
Dude.
You must still be the same.
The content the same. It must still be compelling.
That's it.
Must still be gossip if you are targeting a South African audience.
And it doesn't have to be gossip.
Gossip, you're right.
Yeah,
because this is not a gossip conversation.
There's so many podcasts that I think of that I'd love to do. Yeah. But it'd just take more time and whatever. I mean, I'd love to do a soccer podcast.
True.
Literally, my woman hates this, but I listen to podcasts, soccer podcasts.
Yes. You told me you listen to a lot of podcasts. So.
Soccer podcasts the most.
Jeez.
I listen 24 hours. When I sleep, I'm listening to a soccer podcast.
Jeez.
I'm listening to transfer windows. I'm listening to analysis. So I'd love to do a soccer podcast.
Yeah.
Because man.
Interesting you say that. I love radio and the people that come with it. I love music and the people that come with it, which is why we're doing this today. But I wish I could do something with cars, man. I kept thinking it's too much work.
Yeah.
I wish I could do something with cars because of my problem with cars.
Yeah.
And you're right. There's so many other ideas that one can do.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be gossip, man. Everybody sees, okay, cool, podcast is big because we have celebrities. No.
Yeah.
People just want dope content.
And that's why I like the fact that the Israel one is the biggest. It shows
I love that.
It shows that,
I love that.
It's not...
when I shot that, I was like, wow, what an amazing interview. But I was like, fuck, it's not going to land because we didn't talk about
Yes. How many people he slept with and all of that. None of that.
They're not going to like it. So to see it do so well, I'm like, fuck, I knew it.
It's probably sitting on what, 800,000? 900,000
No, it's on
today.
900,000 now.
Wow.
My phone's off, but it's on 900,000 something.
That's amazing.
And
it can only grow.
Bro, and I'm so happy that that's the episode.
That's showing you the biggest numbers.
Because it talks about everything that we stand for on Podcast and Chill. Yeah. About us black people working together, changing the narrative.
Black tags and having lots of girls, sex. I love his subject matter on
You know what I
sex.
mean?
Yes.
And all it takes, bro, is just, I mean, look what we are doing,
Yeah.
you know?
Amazing.
And I gotta say credit to you because a lot of OGs that I know are not very receptive to youngsters coming up with ideas. They've got their clique. They do what
They're
they
good
do.
with those people.
Yeah, and then they keep it moving, you know.
Yeah.
But you were one of the first OGs who was like, gave me a chance to pitch my idea.
I saw something special.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And here we are collaborating and doing amazing things and putting other black people on. You understand?
That's
Because
true.
you putting me on now means I can put on Bougie, who can then put on
Jeez.
whoever, and I can put on the
So
Ladies
many.
podcast, and I can put on whoever, and Black Friday,
Yeah.
and then those Black Fridays put on other black people. So it's like it's a spiral.
It goes back to that black empowerment concept.
That's it.
If we don't do it, and your fixation with empowering black businesses on your podcast makes me very happy.
Yeah, because I know the struggle.
Yeah.
I know the struggle. I've got a brand now, Grand Georgian, and it's been hard. It still is.
Yeah.
You know, I've been trying to get it onto tops
And all this,
all
and it's
this.
not easy.
And
How do
it's
you sell it now?
Take a lot. It's on Take a Lot.
Okay,
And then
okay.
we've got a website as well.
Yeah.
But
But it's still an uphill battle.
yes.
Yeah.
So having known the struggle with the little bit of traction that I have, I was like, if I can help another black business,
Yeah.
eh,
And what better way than proving with your own product?
Yes.
Yes. There's no other way.
yes. And the thing is, now it's black people selling black things to other black people.
That's it.
Which is more impactful than Old Mutual saying, "Oh, cool, you got 200,000 black people. We want them."
Yes. Come.
And then you
yeah.
take them to
Yes.
to their-
We'll give you 20,000 and thank you.
yeah, and then they go to their life policies. or
Yes, and all of
whatever.
that. Yeah.
But now, if I'm promoting another black business,
Yeah.
now that black person can take their kids to school,
You know?
or
Yeah.
put bread on the table.
Pay a bond
You know what I mean? So we're keeping the rand
within the community.
together. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which is more impactful.
Do you know, I want to conclude with one of my favorite things on your podcast. Saul.
Yeah.
I think he's special.
Oh man.
How did that come about?
Saul, me and Saul, we worked together at at YFM.
Yeah.
But we're never close like friends. He was just a colleague, met him. We were cordial. So I started following him on Facebook since then.
Okay.
And then when I started the podcast, Len had to leave. And then we needed a replacement.
Okay.
So at the top of my head, I wanted to have Tepi, who's now doing the ladies podcast.
Oh, yes, of
'Cause
course.
I love her.
Yes,
I
yes.
think
You love her
her
energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, okay, cool. Let me try get Tepi. But then I remember, man, fuck, Saul is funny. Because every time I'm on Facebook, his status would always pop up first. You know?
Because it's doing well.
Yes. And he would always just say things. And I'm like, actually, he's right. But he's funny at the same time, and he gets you thinking. So I was like, you know what? First of all, I wanted to do just a celebrity interview because people hadn't heard about Saul for a long time.
Since
Yeah,
5 and all of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, cool, I'll come through do the interview, but I don't want to do it via Zoom. Let's do it
In studio.
in studio.
Yeah.
I was like,
Or
no
next
problem.
to the pool.
Yeah.
Is that where you did it?
That's what we did. It.
Yes.
So when Len left, we were trying various people to see who would want to introduce to the team. And then Saul came. And then it was just
Jeez.
instantaneous.
He came in as a celebrity guest.
He came in as a celebrity guest, but the dance
Yeah, between the two of you.
between the two of us,
Ooh.
people don't understand. They see it, but they don't understand. Like it's
a dance.
It's a dance.
Yeah.
It's a dance. We all know our roles.
Yeah.
Ghost Lady knows her role. I know my role. Saul knows his role.
Yeah.
And it sounds like chaos, and it may look like, these guys are just fucking insane.
Noisy and-
But there's a method to the madness.
Yeah.
And he got it, man.
Jeez. And it got it immediately.
And he gelled with Ghost Lady. Ghost Lady gelled with him. I gelled with him. He gelled with me. And he just brought this ball of fire. When he walked in, he's
He always
big,
does that. He
he's
always
loud.
He does that every time.
And Saul is the type of guy, if you're having a bad day, he can just talk to you and you'll laugh and you feel better.
Yeah. And it's good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what he's brought to the show is remarkable.
And I'm glad you are aware of that, because it's not always easy for leads to accept a successful co-lead.
Yeah.
Because it's like, dude, I'm staring here.
No, no.
And you can't be shining on my shine.
Trust me, I don't want to be staring. I've been staring since I was 15.
You're
Get
done.
sharp.
Yeah.
I'm MacGyvered out.
You're done. You're done figuring shit out, which is what MacGyver does. You're done.
You understand? And I go back to, it's for the sake of the podcast.
That's it.
You know?
Yeah.
I always tell people, I'm like, Thursday is a celebrity episode.
Yeah.
Monday is Saul's episode.
That's it.
That's it.
You essentially,
Yeah.
He's the constant celebrity guest.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah, I'll be there to say, hey, what did you think about this, that?
That's it. Yeah.
But it's him.
And I
Monday
notice
shows-
a lot of the time, it's top of mind stuff to him.
He's incredible.
He's literally one of the most spontaneous people I've ever
He's
seen.
the only guy I've worked with whose mind I really yo.
Yeah, you wish you had a little bit of that.
The fuck does he think of this? This fucking guy.
So there's someone you envy out there.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And he doesn't want to be the lead.
As well.
He wants to be the co. He knows his role.
Wow.
You know, so when I do interviews about the podcast, he'll never say, why am I
I can
not?
do this bad.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I have to be the one to say, hey, boy,
Saga.
let's do this together. You know what I mean? But he's content in his role.
And as you say, he's happy to be a part of this thing. You guys
Ghost
are doing.
Lady as well. She's content with people. She doesn't want people
People
to
to know her.
She doesn't want to be a celebrity. You know.
I remember once I was taking a picture of you guys shooting the show, and I realized that Ghost Lady's in the picture.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, I have to crop her out. Because I'm sure you don't want it to be seen as well.
Yeah, and it's a dance, man. Like, we all know our role and we all know what to do.
Yeah.
I know when to come in. Saul knows when to save me.
Yes, he's struggling.
and what people don't understand is he's the only person I call when I'm not sure.
Yes, eh?
Yeah,
Etina.
yeah. If I'm not sure about a celeb or an episode we did, he's the guy. And 99%.
Why does his opinion matter so much?
Because he brings value
Yeah, okay.
in whatever it is that I'm not sure about. You know, I mean, there's a lot of people whose opinion I value. Like, I'd value your opinion,
Yeah.
because you're a broadcaster.
Yeah.
Even though, yes, this is on YouTube and whatever, but broadcasting still
It's broadcasting,
broadcasting.
yes. Lately you ask me about money. How much should we charge for this?
Yes, you know what I'm saying? And then I'll always ask you, do you think that show is too long,
Yes,
or whatever?
yes,
Or
yes.
you know, I'll ask you, do you think it comes across weird if I laugh at my own jokes or
Yeah,
something? You know
interesting. Another thing you asked me about was Babe's commentary.
what I mean?
Yes, and
yeah.
we had an agreement.
Yes.
And then you applied the agreement.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I there's a lot of people that I value, but him
Yeah.
I value the most because he's with me in this journey. So he knows the chillers, he
Yeah.
knows the vision, he knows what we're trying to do. So when he says something, I listen.
You know, one thing that comes across about Saul for me is he's happy to be here.
He's so happy.
He's happy to be a part of this thing you're doing.
Yeah.
He's like literally and that's why I say, you're like a freaking, you want to do something. You don't want to sit still. And he comes across that way all the time.
Yeah, and that's how it is. And that's why, to some degree, I always hope, yes, the money would be good, but I hope we don't get a big sponsor.
You stay sustainable,
Yeah.
but not too big for your own shoes.
Because we'll lose that.
Yeah, that's true. I remember the Fat Joe show was amazing on E. And then it went to SABC.
And it's a different kettle of fish.
It had far bigger money,
Yeah,
but it was never the same show.
exactly.
It was YFM Bedrooms versus YFM of years after.
Yeah.
The guys who tell you, they say, man, what we used to do in that shack in Bedrooms was so great.
And that's why, part of the reason why radio is dying a slow death is because of that. Because the stations now care more about profit
True.
and pleasing the client.
Yeah. Than the beauty of what you do in studio and the audience.
There's a thing we did with Saul. We had a campaign with Stay Kiniko.
Yeah.
They were promoting this movie, Chris Rock. What is it called?
No. Yes. Oh, yeah. Was that a promo?
Yes. So
What is that movie?
What is that movie?
I remember somebody telling me
The
these
Spiral,
guys- the
Spiral,
spiral.
yes.
Yes, I remember you did that quite a bit actually.
yeah. So if you watch the episode, right? Saul now forgot.
What his part?
No, he had forgotten. So we are done. We are done with the campaign.
Yeah.
They said we must advertise the movie.
It's
advertise
done.
It's done.
Yeah.
So now, fast track 2 weeks down the line, Saul has forgotten that
You're done.
no, Saul has forgotten that we did a campaign with Stay Kiniko about Spiral.
uh.
So now he's trashing the movie.
That's crazy.
like to the core. You understand? And after
That's the episode I saw actually where he's trashing the movie.
yeah, so
Yes.
after the episode, he says, "Let's take that out so we
Yeah.
don't piss off client." I'm like, "Nah, dog. For the sake of the podcast, that moment was fucking gold.
Funny, yeah.
It was gold.
We can't
Let's
get
put
rid
it
of
up. If they're mad, we'll apologize."
Were they mad?
Funny enough, they came back to us. They said they've gotten so much more positive feedback
From that.
from that than what we did the 2 weeks prior.
Maybe you should trash things. Man. You should say we're broadcasting from Mashara Creative Studios. We don't like it here.
But if that was on radio, you would have seen your programs manager
of course,
running
down.
Hey, what are you doing?
A sales guy running down. Yeah. You would have had a meeting after that.
You understand what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
And a horrible meeting.
Yeah. That's why we say for the sake of the podcast. Because for the sake of the content, if they didn't like it, we're gonna give their money back.
Yeah,
It's fine.
Yeah.
You know?
And
Well,
now that worked.
and that worked. And they loved it.
That's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
Advertising literally spun on its head.
Yeah.
And yet it still continues.
Yeah. So yeah, man.
Saul is the man.
Ah,
Your
Saul's
team is amazing. I love the role Ghost Lady plays.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much because then we might reveal who she is.
Yeah,
But what you do is amazing, my man. I wish you well.
Yeah.
I think where you're going is really, really far. We put your peak in 20 years, so you're still here for a while.
Yeah.
There is no
Yeah.
any second now, but you keep growing and growing. And I wish you lots and lots of money.
Thanks, man.
Lots. I know you don't care for it.
Nah, not really.
But I wish you lots and lots of money and amazing success.
No, for me, money is an ends to a means.
That's it.
You know, but I'm more about experiences, you know?
Yeah.
But obviously you need money for experiences.
For experiences, yeah. You have enough to go to Bila Bila. It's good enough.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
that's it, you know?
I mean, because when you pass away, I doubt Zozo's going to say, "Do you remember how much money David had?"
No.
No, I'll be like, "Hey, do you remember when we
did this together? you know,
together?"
That's it.
Yeah, you know.
The conversation about cash is literally in and out. We're
Yeah.
done with it.
Yeah.
We think he had some 1,000 rands more.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
The rest of the time is the stories that he's done.
You know what I mean?
Jeez.
And that's why, you know, we can sit here. We've both interviewed Chili.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a moment I'll never forget.
Let me tell you. Chili cried sitting on that
How the
very
fuck did you
chair.
get him to try?
He cried.
How did you get him to cry? How did you get him to cry? Those are numbers.
They didn't bring me numbers. but you know, one thing about YouTube also is that people, once they're in, they go back to old stuff.
Yeah.
You've probably noticed that as
Yeah.
well. They suddenly old videos are showing better
not,
numbers.
Not with us, eh? Funny
Really?
enough, yeah, no one has
Has
checking
gone
up.
back.
Yeah, no. Maybe we must do a call to action.
Yeah, and say, look, check
Yeah.
this out. Check
Yeah,
this
'cause
out.
we did
Yes.
some crazy stuff. 'Cause
In the past.
It was there was no CIA watching
No,
us.
none of that.
Hanging on every word. We're literally free.
At the time, yeah?
Yeah.
Jeez, I think you should go back.
Yeah.
No, he said right there, he cried. He cried about, I said to him, I wish him radio. I wish him a radio show soon. And geez, that moment just, no, he couldn't hold himself. Because he has a lot of, Chile had a lot of regrets. But he didn't, he said he would live that life again, given a chance. But he is wiser now. You know, he would he would turn left instead of right. But that life was great, man. You know the stories. Yeah. And I was working with Chile at Metro at that time. And most of the stories were gossip to us, you know, a colleague gossip. That did you hear what he did? So when he sat here, he confirmed all the gossip that I heard about him. He said, yeah, I did that. I rented a hotel and stayed there, and I didn't like it, and I upgraded myself. And then I went to Glen Lewis and said, Metro upgraded me. Glenn Lewis went to management to ask, why did you upgrade Chile? That's a typical Chile story. He did that over and over and over again. And he said, I ran out of luck. And Romeo fired me. And he did it. He even told a story about Paola, where he said, I took 10,000 rands. I wasn't supposed to. I don't even remember what I bought with that money. It was so not necessary that. So that's the kind of show we had. But the moment I said, I wish you a radio gig again, it messed him up, man.
Man, I remember after we did that interview with him,
Yeah.
as soon as the cameras went off, he was like, dude, when I die, I want you to play this interview.
Wow.
He's like, you got the best out of me.
Amazing,
This
eh?
is what I want people to remember me.
The story.
Yeah. That's like, and that for me was like,
Jeez.
yo, Chile.
So much responsibility.
Yeah, that's when I had that moment.
Yes.
Your crying moment. with
Yes,
him.
exactly.
That was
That's
my
when it's like,
moment.
oh, shit.
And I was just blown away, man. I was like, wow,
This is
guy.
incredible.
Because you gotta understand, you know, I used to be his technical producer.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Early on, yeah, when after your 5 minutes and
Oh yeah, that's why I was there from 10. I used to be Chile's technical producer.
that's what it was. Yeah.
So I used to technical produce for him 3 to 6
Yes.
p.m.
with Dineo at the time. Yes. Yes.
And then I'd go to More Flavor at 6 o'clock, whatever. But having being his technical producer, I used to sit on the other booth while he was doing his show
Yeah.
and just be in awe.
Of how his style.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, I think everybody should know the story. I don't know if you know about it.
No. Go ahead.
So, Chiliam says he's standing in for DJ Spoo breakfast because he was doing drive, but he's standing in for DJ Spoo. So he goes in at 6 in the morning, goes to his co-host. He's like, "Hey, Daddy, you won't believe what happened last night. You know, this is at 6." Co-host, I think it was Faith Mangwa, boy. I don't know. She's like, "What happened, Daddy?" She's like, "Hey, I'll tell you after 6:30. Hey, Marwa, not in those words, Mara. Like it was late. You were what? Hey, 6:30 comes.
Yeah. What happened?
What happened? So he did this. He did the story in intervals. So every 30 minutes, he'd give you
A little bit.
A little
bit. Wow.
A little bit.
That's magic.
a little bit.
That's magic.
A little bit. Ne? But the story eventually was that he got high.
Yeah.
Imagine in the morning, a radio DJ saying, "I took drugs. I got high."
Jeez. That's unheard of. Nobody does
7 peak traffic.
Jesus.
Well, one, it's like I took drugs. I got high. There were girls that came to my place. We had sex. There was no condom. I'm worried. We're like, blah, blah, blah. The show ends at 9 a.m. At 8:45 or 8:55, he goes, "Sure." And then I woke up. It was all a dream.
Wow.
Dude, I kid you not. You can ask so many people. Tato Mueng, everybody during that time, when you're starting that story, it's like the world freezed.
Yeah.
And everyone was just listening to that
to
story.
this guy.
I remember Tato Moeng she had to read news or something at 9. She chilled in the car.
She was late for the news.
Yes! To hear how the story ends. And I was like, no ways.
That kind of,
No
radio
ways.
doesn't exist anymore.
You know, when Chile was on air, DJs from other stations would call.
tune in.
Like, hey, what's this guy doing? Are you guys listening? What's happening? I was like, fuck me, this guy's a genius. When he said it was all a dream,
Leo, you all said, what the hell, dude?
I'm thinking, yo, wow, genius. Oh my goodness, that is amazing.
It's guys who prep twice as more when they're sitting in. I know those guys. They take. I did a show, a top 20 or top 30. I was never sell because I've never done a chat show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spent the whole night prepping for that show. I don't do that for my own show. So that's what he did essentially.
But the genius,
Dude.
how do you think of that? Because that's TSL, time spent
Listening. Everybody wants to hang around and hear how the story ends. Wow, man. What a loss, eh?
Oh, man.
What
And that's
a
just
loss.
one story.
Of
Then
many.
He called his drug dealer on air.
Jeez. Do you know everybody has a Chile story?
Oh, man.
You could have a whole podcast
Yeah.
doing the Chile stories.
Yeah.
And everybody will tell you a Chile story.
Great guy at heart. He had his troubles, but amazing human being.
Yeah.
And that's why I like the fact that I don't know most people. Because when I see you for who you are, not for what people perceive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I met you, David, I met you as like David, not David
yeah.
Mashabela.
Yeah, whatever people think of. Yes, the billionaire. You say billionaire. I take it, I receive. What do Christians say? I receive in the name of the Lord. Whatever it is, I take it, I receive.
I mean, when I met Kuzani is showing me, Uri, my man, I'm a big deal. It's like I fill up stadiums. All these people love me. I'm like, okay, cool, dog. That's dope.
I didn't do that, right?
No.
Okay.
But I'm saying, when I met
fill
him,
up anything.
but when I met him, I just saw Kuzani, the guy.
That's it. Yeah.
Not the superstar.
That's the superstar.
Blue Nation, what.
Jeez.
So to some degree, I like not knowing people.
Yeah.
Because
you meet their soul. You don't meet the fanfare.
Yeah.
You don't meet what the people say about them.
Yeah, because TV will make you, I call it the idiot box.
Yeah, it does.
When you see people on TV, you become like an idiot when you see them in real life.
I have this problem of thinking I know them in real life. I've done it once or twice.
Yeah.
But I know this guy, man.
Yeah.
And later I was like, damn it, I saw them on TV.
Yeah.
There's the YFM breakfast show host, the co-presenter, the girl. I think I know her, but I don't know from where.
Yeah.
And maybe she's done TV. I don't know. It's like I've had a chat with this chick, and I probably don't really know her.
Yeah.
Candy something? I forget her name.
Dude, I don't know anyone. I remember I was playing at in Alex. Yeah. It was an ANC rally, whatnot. So Fat Cookie Mahuta booked me.
You got that kind of money as well, man.
No, this was back then.
Do you want to tell us?
This was back then.
Okay.
So they booked me, and I'm rocking.
Yes.
I'm rocking. This guy comes to me. He's like, he had a drink in his hand. He's like, hey, my man, you're rocking nicely. You're playing nicely. I'm like, thank you, man. And then he stands right next to me throughout the set.
Those types.
Didn't know who the fuck it was. Played, leave. Next day, I'm watching the news. There's that guy. Fikile Mbalula.
You didn't know?
I didn't know. I had no idea who he was.
Yeah, you don't know people.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just that moment was like...
Was so...
Had I known, I would have been, yo, Baba.
Yes.
Let me make space.
So there is something to be said about that, I guess. That you don't see what others see. You're fine to be next to them at that moment, and that's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything for you trying to make space for them and so to speak.
Yeah.
It happened to me in Durban Metro Awards. They were calling someone to stage, and everybody was excited for this person, fans. I had no idea who they were.
Exactly.
I still don't know. But they were on whatever, Sibaya or these shows.
And had you met that person, they'd enjoy a conversation with you more than...
Then absolutely. There wouldn't have been a filter, the celebrity filter.
Yeah.
Tiam, you're a rock star.
Thank you.
In my world, you're a legend. I like it when you call me Brad Dave. You're the only person in the world who calls me that. I absolutely love it, and I appreciate it.
I don't want you to charge me for the studio. So I must be at my best behavior. You are my Fikile Mbalula. What do you want, sir?
The only person in the world who calls me Brad David.
Yeah.
MacG, thank you, man.
Yeah.
You're a legend and a legend in the making. They say legendary status comes with time. Like good wine, you have to wait for it. For us to regard it as that. And I'm glad to say what I see in you is exactly where you're heading. And where you're heading is amazing. Wow. And I want you to continue to touch people's lives in a positive way. I say this because I've seen you do that with your staff. You're always they're happy to have you around, and you're happy to have them around. And I say, I wish you lots and lots of many years with that, with your family, with your podcast, with your career. Well done, my man. Wow, I want to have a soul moment. Because I know people love that when you and Saul do that.
Yes.
So congratulations for all your achievements and well done, man. Keep going.
Fuck, man. Come to think about it, it's a lot now, actually. See, I never have these moments to go back and reflect. Yeah. Nah, it's always what's next.
I had a chat with Dade Tusomtaung right there, sat right on that chair. We spoke for about an hour and a half. When he left, later on he called me. Do you know I have more stories? So that's why I didn't stop this. We are on 2 hours 51 minutes.
What?
Yep. And we will play it exactly as is.
That's crazy. Jeez, that's 2 of my episodes. I've never done a 3-hour episode.
We've
Are you
just
being serious?
2 hours, 51 minutes.
Sober-minded, no alcohol.
Maybe you should talk about yourself more. There's an idea. There's an idea.
Oh, man.
We stop it right here. How do you say goodbye in Venda?
Ndoribuwa, that's thank you.
Oh, yes, of course.
Ndoribuwa. On the zone.
The zone. Ndoribuwa.
Yes,
It's been with MacG, everybody. See ya. Thank you. Goodbye.
King David Studio Podcast.